Let's take a moment to tell everyone to vaccinate their kids. Thank you, Iggy. My name is Brian Murphy. Hello. I am ANST Apocalypse, and I am on the Changeling the Dreaming dev team. And today we're going to talk a little bit about chatting about Changelings Beta Slice Part 2, the Crunching. With me is Bucky.
Who names these things?
Hello. I'm Bucky.
ARST.
I'm still an ARST enemy.
Sucker.
I help when nudged.
Chump. I'm calling
And
you
I do stuff.
I'm calling you a chump for helping.
I like write stuff when asked.
John carries a lot of water.
Yeah, I'm usually the which Ninja Turtle am I? Am I phlegmatic? Am I sanguine? You know, Raphael, Donatello.
No, he's Raphael, definitely.
Sanguine, Raphael.
He's the technical one. He's obviously Donatello.
Is there a bilious turtle? Can I be bilious turtle?
You could be Splinter, bringing the truths.
I'm saying there's four of us. We
Part of the extended universe.
Why are we
I'm
wasting?
sorry.
Next is the newest member of the Talk About Werewolves family, Brian. Say hi, Brian.
Hi, I'm Brian. I am the Buffalo DST. I am a former ARST changeling for the Northeast. I am a former ICC and near changeling second.
So many hats and all of them red.
Yeah, so many hats, and all of them red. I was going for Saturday, but I couldn't get the
Give me the
horns
link
to
so I can
stick
see
and
this,
not fall off.
the
So
Switch.
Somebody's not.
it's much easier to not to do it when you're applying to someone else. But
Hashtag goat people probably.
And also we have Iggy. Say hi, Iggy. Everyone's favorite, fan favorite Iggy.
I am not.
Oh yeah.
you are.
Oh, yeah.
You absolutely
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
There's demonstrably people that like hate me. I mean,
And I'm new.
Give me time. I'll get there. No, my name's Iggy. I've played it all, and I rarely staff. I like to think of myself as giving the pure player perspective because I will never be suckered. Chumped. Voluntold.
You have been voluntold. You're a member of the dev team.
That's just so I can shit on you guys. That's really
Fair enough.
the voice of the people.
Voice of the people.
Yeah, I bring this game to you, the people.
Beautiful.
Why so serious? It's
so-
a little game.
Now that you know who we are, let's talk about what we're going to be talking about tonight. So we have a few topics we want to get into tonight. We're going to open tonight with a
Can you
talk
send me the link to the Twitch stream?
about something that's been blowing up the Changeling message boards.
There's a message board.
Well, I mean the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Don't cut me off when I'm introing.
Okay.
Yeah.
How dare you?
We're going to talk about glamour rules in Endless Winter. Topic that's been somewhat heated on the boards, but I think we're going to talk about it in a mellow, calm, and relaxed fashion.
As nice as possible.
After we talk about that,
Screaming in 2 minutes.
After we talk about that, we're going to talk about, we're going to step sideways a little bit, and we're going to talk about one of the big unanswered questions in the beta slice, which is Chimerical Death. We're going to spitball some ideas, because we think, actually, Chimerical Death could be one of the most important things about the game.
Yes.
So we're going to do
Huge.
that. And then we're going to break down realms for you. Get deep into that sexy, sexy crunch.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think that we will get to arts.
There's arts on the docket if we don't.
Well, I think with the
Yeah.
realms, we'll do some talking about arts while we're talking about the realms.
Yeah.
The realms are really the big thing that defines Changeling as a game. And I
Yes.
think they're somewhat misunderstood, so there's a lot we can cover there.
Yeah.
But, but
absolutely.
why don't we open this off with... Brian, why don't you set the table for what's going on with Glamour in the current slice? And tell us a little bit about that.
Y'all, there's way too much glamour.
Hard-hitting stuff.
There's a lot of glamour in this slice for a setting that is Endless Winter. There's a lot of high-end dross. There's a lot of dross that doesn't necessarily fit what many people, I think, who came from Changeling the Dreaming old school would consider to be dross. And glamour sources are different, still esoteric in their way because it's Changeling, but
Right.
Yeah. I mean, right now, as written, I promise to be nice because I know somebody worked on this. I mean, and it does take work.
Super hard.
And some of the core concepts are good. but a lot needs to be changed. Some things just do need to be removed or thought of in different ways. And I think in order for Glamour to work as a scarce resource, it needs to be reconceptualized in a way that's much different from Changeling the Dreaming into like the old version, and moving into sort of a new concept away from viewing Glamour as just any other fuel.
Yeah, it needs to move away from what it used to be because of the setting, and just because of what it is in Changeling, it needs to move slightly further away from Blood and Gnosis as well, which are just completely different animals to Dreamings.
Just because of some things that are built into Dreaming, like the elephant in the room will always be Dross.
Yeah.
Because Dross implies the existence of an in-game economy, and with no control, with no portion control, you lose that right out of the gate. But the thing is that I think having an actual in-game Dross economy opens up so much story.
Oh,
Just having it, if they can get this right,
yeah,
it's a huge opportunity for story.
I want to just roll back for a moment. I'm not against Dross. I think that there may have been a lack of communication between whoever was doing Dross and whoever was making the setting. Because, as written, right, you want winter, balefires are going out, Dross is more scarce, but...
Soviet hymns playing in the background.
Right, but currently the background systems and the subsystems and some of the deeper sentences and the paragraphs on Dross is everywhere, and it's like a candy cannon. Like, you would be able to... And I'm not even talking about just churning out Dross, if that was like your character's goal, just to straight up destabilize the game economy.
Which some people will do.
Well, they will do. You could do it in the hundreds, but without even doing that.
Somebody broke it down in the Facebook group that you could probably, with a motley working together, churn out about a Glamour a minute.
I mean...
With current beta rules, which is just more warning about that something is obviously wrong.
Yes, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of issues there. But again, I don't want to just point out flaws. I did spend a lot of time thinking this isn't just like a shit on the the work that was done, but how to solve them. And I think
there's something to be said for the system as is in a vacuum. First glance makes a ton of sense. It does all the things that your power economy fuels do in a BNS style game.
Yes,
it is what it is, but
right.
Even in the
setting calls to not do that is
right.
the issue.
If it were spring, beautiful.
Rules is written.
Rules is written, but that's why we have betas.
Well, I think one common piece of feedback when we were talking about this that I heard a lot, which I thought was actually really good, was that you can get all sorts of buffs to your starting Glamour.
Right.
Glamour you start the session with. You should be able to build your sheets. You're walking in with a mountain of Glamour on your sheet.
Right.
It's topping off, maintaining, and going overflow. That really raises the issues. Not just because you lose that tension if you have no worries about spending it.
Right.
But also because of the fact that you can just blow all your extra into Dross at the end of the session.
Yes, repeatedly throughout the session. End of session Dross creation right now is a lot of Dross. It's more Dross than you'll ever need at any given session after a couple of months of play, which removes any sort of concept of like, oh, these are lean times, and you're like, we're 6 months in, I have like several hundred Dross socked away. I don't understand. And, like, is this really just a world of grasshoppers with no ants? Did you just not say at the end of session, I make 5, 10 Dross? Because you can do it. It's not hard.
Right.
To just segue into the...
But I think the fact that players can create Dross is a solvable problem if you give them fonts, if you give them buckets that they want to throw their Dross in. I don't want to get too much into that. But
right.
if the Chronicle provides buckets to throw your extra Dross in to act as a deflationary pressure, then that's not the end of the world. The problem is when you can churn it out by the hundreds.
I'm just gonna... I want to move to... Okay, so... Basically... Dross is problematic on every level, but the highest levels are going to be the biggest problems. I think they should be moved into other... Let's talk about reframing and reconceptualizing, because again, this isn't just... thing one, I think Dross needs to be viewed less as a thing, like blood, or even gnosis.
You mean glamour?
Or glamour, right. That glamour needs to be viewed as like an action. So, for example, there's a lot of talk about objects d'art being, is in and of itself a little bit rich. You're basically saying no changeling has ever been hungry, nobody's ever gone in there. I think we need to move away from the idea of physically destroying the art requiring...
Hold.
What's up?
We're jammed up.
We jammed up. I'm stopping.
Video and audio cut.
And we should be back. I think that should be back now.
How we doing?
1 second. We're back in the green. We went to the red for like a half second. Now we're back to red again. I think it's actually Time Warner.
I mean, the temperature did go up 40 degrees in the last day.
50. 40 in the last day, 50 since we were last year.
Yeah.
And it's going to be
Okay,
snowing
we're
over
back
the
in the green.
Okay. People hear us?
We should be. Looks like we're going out again.
Sweet.
Could it be me watching us?
If you're watching the video, I don't think that would be enough. No.
Yeah, but if you're watching it on the Wi-Fi, you can't help.
Just do it off Wi-Fi. You were saying? Sorry.
Okay, so picture
I don't know your
museum.
passwords.
All of the paintings don't have glamour in them anymore. They've been drained by somebody at some point from the late 60s on.
Well, I
If you
was gonna say something,
I'm saying that
but this would be cribbing.
if you want to get your glamour from the museum, you should be getting it from the people in the museum. It's about something that moved them.
I remember Paris.
Right. That's where you're generating. So, one, move away from breaking dross, being required to actually eat the dross, which is one thing. Make it more esoteric. The other things are a little bit crunchier. Fonts and any.
I think fonts are a good idea that can't survive.
I don't like font, and I'll tell you this. Just conceptually, a font is just like a freehold there.
Now it's a freehold you put in your pocket.
Right. Well, I mean, they're usually like physical areas, but that's just like they're more explainable in world as just that's where freeholds are hidden, not there's just places spewing out glamour. There really shouldn't be white holes of energy in this setting. Even if they're jealously guarded, I mean, we have to deal with the realities of the LARP, of what people can have or not have, and there are certain features you just don't want to litter throughout the game. Some of the mid-level dross is fine, like Hendrix's guitar, like somebody's famous something.
Willie Nelson's famous guitar.
Right, exactly.
That still has its glamour in it, perfectly fine. The problems are really at the extremes. The highest end glamour is bad. Also, being able to eat your own chimera. What? Even
being able to eat your own chimera is
like I'm all for
What?
letting
It's
players...
like herd that does things. It's a herd retainer.
but there's also
there's also herd.
Yes,
I mean,
I have herd and herd
Right.
retainer,
Right, but see,
And
And retainer herd.
right in scenes
and I take my retainer, I jack him with glamour, and then I ravage him, and then like,
you don't even have to like.
and then after that, I take my chimera, and then I feed it to my retainer, and then they have sex.
It's all very much a problem, and I think so. Some easy fixes. One is you just move out fonts and heirlooms into something else.
And I think Dreamers giving you extra at start of game is fine.
Yes, starting
make it flat
gnosis
back.
should be high, but
Glamour.
sorry, force of habit.
No, you know what that says? That intrinsically and unconsciously that you see that there's no difference between the two.
Well, I mean, in many
because
ways
there isn't,
right now
and
there
that's
isn't.
the problem.
Right. So the biggest issue is people are going to want to use their powers. It's a game. Granted.
Yeah.
You should be able to go to session with moderate, investment of XP into backgrounds, into various things, to be able to take the extra downtimes or have the backgrounds to start at full. It's refilling repeatedly through a session that destroys the genre and makes the whole concept of Endless Winter untenable. There's suspension of disbelief, and then there's just not being able to play that because you can't even force it. You can't even play pretend about it.
It's
You
the
know
grim
what I mean?
darkness of winter, and
It's grim darkness of winter, and we don't know where to store all of our bajillions of drops.
outside.
But it won't be, because I'll just use my arts to make a warm fire and burn away. Like literally, you should just huck it at every banal person that walks by. There shouldn't be a winter in this setting.
Okay, so I think we wanted to hang all this together. The Chatting About Changelings team proposal is as follows.
Well, okay, so a couple things. One is the higher dross needs to be moved into something else, either like epic loot or stuff you can do when you like journey in the dreaming. You can find a font, like that's kind of an interesting mechanic. So I'm not
But
saying
it will drive you the fuck crazy.
And it's not living in your house. Yeah,
what I'm saying is, don't get rid of it. I'm not saying. I don't want to shit on the work. There's good ideas there, but you can't have heirlooms and fonts in this setting
Crank
that
the
people
rarity.
can have. Crank the rarity. Put them elsewhere. Put them in the dreaming. Put them as goals for people who don't have a balefire or on their adventures and downtime. That there are places that they can refuel.
Mm-hmm.
Two. Okay. There's two more things.
No,
One-
because I really like the idea of fonts as somewhere else. Like, all right,
yeah,
so
yeah, I do too. I think that's
So,
great.
well,
Yeah.
if you look at like magic treasures of like, there's a Norse one, the Horn of Plenty.
Sure.
The idea to an American that a magical item just makes all the food you can eat doesn't really like wow us. It's like I
Yeah.
can basically eat until I kill myself. All my
Cornucopia
friends
is
have.
strictly Norse.
No, but it's one of the examples of said. So it's like the idea I could eat myself to death in America, and I have often come close. But in other cultures and in other times, the
Kosher
idea
buffet.
the idea of a font of food that would never run out was world bending, mind bending. If there was a rumor
Game-breaking.
if there was a rumor that it was real, people would have gone on endless quests to go get it.
Yeah.
So like
And would have started wars
over
Yeah.
just the rumors or scraps of it. So like the idea of like there's a font
A naturally
in-
occurring balefire.
in the dreaming
essentially.
between two different duchies.
Sure.
Sure, great, yeah.
These are all good things. Don't make them havable. Don't put them directly in the game state.
So that's one.
And
Two,
heirlooms also add.
Dreamers only give you a buff at start of game.
Only so no ducking out to hunt. Basically all glamour games should be attenuated to take a month. No minutes, no scenes, no nothing. At session, you pretty much get what you get, and maybe a little bit more if you actively hunt Chimera, not eat your own. Or if you do eat your own, lose a dot and then pay an XP tax. On top of the
That was what I was
banality
gonna say.
tax.
The other thing was the fourth
It
thing
should
would
be a break under glass.
Yeah, fourth thing would be if you have to eat your own Chimera, you're going to lose a dot in that background.
Right. Another thing, two other things. One, make glamour decay. Or make dross decay.
I actually am firmly against this.
Really?
I completely disagree. Putting a clock on dross does two things. One, it increases tracking requirements, which is a headache. But two, the other thing is all you're encouraging people to do is to pop the dross right before it expires and make new dross.
Oh no, I get that.
It does nothing. So my solution is actually you just have to pay double cost to get the level
Okay.
dross you want.
You can change again.
Yeah.
Changing the ratios would also
Yeah.
help.
I saw a suggestion in the chat actually to attach instead of just a simple action in a glamour, make it also cost a willpower. Like make it draining.
I
Like,
can see
or that dross creation taxes you a downtime action.
Oh, I mean, like
Downtime actions are.
I mean, like if
it's
you
not much
really
of a
want
tax.
to bump the ennui, be like breaking draws costs you an ennui or it costs you willpower.
I mean,
It needs to
the
be
big thing in the
choked
background
down.
about this thing is all of these effects, and once we talk about more things, we'll say about them too, is that the effects have to be clean. We could come up with some sort of complicated tabletop style mechanic that's going to make your storyteller with 40 players want to rip his eyes out.
and
I
then you
don't
have
want-
to track
okay.
it across the nation.
And you have tracked across nation. Nobody wants that.
Let me tell you
want a
what I
cash
definitely
book.
don't want. No additional paperwork.
no cash books.
Especially by STs.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't be any more logging requirement. There would be to write down that you have a coil of rope.
Yeah.
It should be that simple. It should be something you should just put on your sheet because you had it in your downtime report anyway, and it's fine. I want people to start game at full glamour. The idea of dreamers being able to refill you at session should be ludicrous. You'd be like, oh yeah, no, I've got the dreamers background. Oh really? I mean, where are you going? Well, let me tell you about Bill. Bill's a mechanic, but he has dreams of writing the next great opera. It's a light piece of fare. It's about a mechanic and a beautiful woman, and they fall in love and then kill themselves. You know, opera. And
An opera about a man falling in love with a woman?
Inconceivable. But whenever I go near him, he just has what I could only describe as epiphanic fits of just glamour spewing. What? Come on, no one is so consistently shitting gold, other than the dev team, that... sorry, I had to work that. But really, nobody is like that. There is no poet that you could just, like, after a combat, kick in their door of your art students and be like, guys, tell me about your process, quick. And they're like, it's 3 in the fucking morning.
Which means
What
they're
are you-
awake. So if you ask them at like 3 in the afternoon,
Okay, 3 in the afternoon, dead asleep. They're like, what is even happening right now?
I
It's
haven't
like,
had a
"Your
chance to wake and
process."
bake yet. Leave me
I
alone.
need glamour for my powers. That should be no. Over the course of a month, you can tend your dreamers. You can start next session at full glamour. You can do it in the downtimes. You could do that. Let's try to make the genre, which can have dream pirates riding dragons, as grounded as we can without actually not making it not ludicrous in and of itself in like the adventure aspects, but ludicrous in the players can't take it seriously aspect.
Right, you need the players to be able to take the
played
world
straight.
seriously,
Yes.
even as the world is utterly ridiculous and
There are
wonderful.
ridiculous aspects of the world
Absolutely.
that should be played dark in the sense of bedlam. Yeah. And like that's cool. We can have a discussion about bedlam versus banality and dealing with like friend death. But the dross problem is just basically one of it needs to be trimmed and parts moved around. Very little of it has to be rewritten. Just needs to be toned down. The background needs to be nerfed. And if people are like, "Well, it's easier to get blood," like, well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like almost.
It's a world drowning in blood but losing its dreams.
Yes.
It's kind of the point.
How many people are on Earth?
7 billion
Yeah,
and counting.
like almost every one of them's got 10 points of them. But you know, not all of them are poets.
I think this is something that's going to segue us into our next thing, and that's that we should always make sure that the rules are supporting the setting.
Mm-hmm.
That the rules of the game support the setting you want to create.
Well, and don't undermine it. That's the
And
bigger thing.
or at the least, don't undermine
Because
it.
in Vampire, the problem with the weak humanity rules is humanity and beast traits, and then later seed traits to a lesser extent, and the curse in general. I mean, they're a joke. You've got players who are going to play to lose and play for the drama, and like they're going to embrace it. But 99% of the time, if you like bring up beast traits, you're like the a-hole in the room. It's like nobody mentioned them. Why you gotta be like that? And then afterwards, it's just like, can I have the animal Ken talk? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're cool. I can do more murder
To
now.
complete our segue.
Right. Don't undermine your own game system.
No,
There's good stuff here.
Right. So I think one thing we want to talk about is something that actually is barely in the beta. It is mentioned in the beta, but it doesn't really develop at all. So I want to talk about some ideas that we had just floating out there just to explore the space.
Right.
And that's Chimerical Death, which actually, besides Realms, is, for me, as a storyteller, one of the most exciting things about Changeling.
I think this is like a cornerstone aspect of the
This
game.
is a cornerstone
This is
aspect.
one of the things that makes me happiest about the game.
Yeah, it's a cornerstone aspect of the game. So before we go dive face first into this,
Too late.
why don't we talk about what Chimerical Death used to mean as a baseline?
2 different health bars that you had to somehow
Rectify.
combine together to decide when you actually dropped.
What does it mean if you drop from chimerical damage? Is it like bashing damage, or you're just knocked out?
Well, I mean, there was the forgetting aspect.
There was the
of it.
forgetting aspect that was. Y'all, the Shining Host was written by a teenager. That's the fact. There's no. Sorry,
Okay, so
sorry.
Basebook Shining Host basically
Brian does
treats
love
it in
death.
many ways. In many ways, it treats it similar to bashing damage.
Right.
But there's been a lot of developments in LARPs in the last 20 years, and there's been a lot of
We are on the cutting edge of LARP. There's Brian wearing a lab coat. He's a LARP scientist.
We're light years ahead of where we were back in the late 90s. Boy, do we have some things to show you.
And there's a lot of opportunities in this concept that can really enrich the LARP experience. The big thing is, of course, the elephant in the room with death is always that it's final. They're gone forever. Blah. And in all of the other games, there's restrictions on killing other PCs, usually because there are setting enforcement methods that should work, and when those break down, people feel like they have to kill the other PC. Or maybe somebody just throws some bad chops, and they're dead, and they're gone forever. Their story is over, the money you spent on costuming is gone, life moves on with a new character. So, how do we make it better?
I just want to say proactively, I only have like 2 notes on this.
Yeah.
And since I talked a lot about Glamour, I'm just going to let you field it. And
I
if
have-
my notes don't come up,
I have your prop here as the Bucky alternative.
oh, really?
Yeah, that's how I I didn't name check you, but yeah, that's what I did.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna just jump in there.
All right, so Iggy, I've got notes. Everybody else has notes. I want you to riff. Just go.
I do riff. And
Just riff.
I think that
You
and
doth riff.
Alternative.
I think that one of the aspects of the game that I like, the idea of Chimerical Death that I like the best. It's everybody's like, oh, the death's not final. No. I would like a system where they take Chimerical Death as almost as, if not as seriously as death.
Like here's actual death.
And just
Chimerical death is just right there. Like,
just slightly, and the reason why is there is nothing quite as fun, and I say this like
as a
completely
Wraith
serious.
player.
As somebody who would never play Wraith, I say this: there's nothing quite as fun as being the center of attention and dying.
Mm-hmm.
But that's something, and it's to quote a Looney Tunes cartoon. Yeah, but I can only do it once. That's not true here. You can have the catharsis of doing the right thing and not be punished. You could die in a way that reinforces the setting and take a penalty and have it be very real, but not have that be the end of your story. You could have a rivalry with somebody else where you go back and forth and they die, or you die and you come back, an internal struggle between the two of you, but not have it be like stupid Moriarty, of course he didn't die, you didn't see the body, you saw the body, it was fake. Like, he did die. You succeeded. You killed the baddie. Yeah, he'll be back. And your struggle will continue. And that gives it a lineage and an epic aspect that a lot of games... Like, because if you're a vampire, you're an elder, you write into your background that you and your 1 point, however point at many enemy have been struggling for 500 years, one of you finally wins, the end. That's it. Whereas you won for now. And that story can keep going as long as you want it to. You can have... people that were
loving and
yeah.
reinforcing of the genre
Well, it needs,
itself.
but if you were to get to this, it needs to have, the effect has to have enough teeth
Yep.
that it's satisfying.
Yeah, it does. It has to. It has. I mean, I like a spank with my tickle. It has to hurt. And if it doesn't hurt, it doesn't matter.
Do you want to go through some of my ideas?
What are some of your ideas?
So, I had some notes here.
You know I can't read.
I know. Okay,
I'm not going to spend a point in the literacy.
so it is implied in the beta slice that Chimerical Death occurs if you have at least a point of damage from a chimerical supernatural source. So
aggravated.
Sort of the opposite of getting ashed.
right. So
Or
if you
on the way to getting ashed.
in my interpretation right now, if you have 1 damage on your damage track that is supernatural, when you drop, instead of going to corpse and rooting through your pockets for change, you bamf out.
Well,
Let me just
right.
Okay.
I'll get there.
Yeah. So you bamf out. So let's go with that for now. That is our basic structure of what happens when you chimerically die. Here is what I would like to happen in a perfect world once you chimerically die. 1, you're done with that character for that session.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That character is done for that session. And the character...
Nothing can bring him back that session. I don't want a weird ritual.
Right.
I don't want like some hocus... Like, he's...
I don't want a weird level of power. They're dead for that session.
Yes.
And I would... This might be controversial. I would like them to miss their next session as well.
That's a little much.
It is a little much.
That's a little
but
much.
That reinforces, and it also removes the character from play for a little bit, which in a lot of situations is what's needed to resolve a PvP situation.
If you get got at the beginning of one session, you miss 2 months. That's a long time.
With that character.
It's a long time.
Let's see some other stuff I had. I would like it if there's an oath of crossed swords between 2 characters, there should be no ennui for either of them if one of them chemically kills the other.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If it's reciprocated.
If it's a reciprocated oath of crossed swords.
Yeah. An honorable duel.
Yeah.
I mean, are we doing the Dragon's Dance, or are we doing it to the blood? Like, which one is it?
No, you do it till one of you dies.
That's the Dragon's Dance.
Yeah. So I think that's hot.
Not these toothless monomacies we hear about
Yeah.
these days.
What's a...
Some other stuff.
Sabat.
No, like, what? Why is there... You know what? We'll get into that after.
Yeah. Some other stuff I'd like to roll out that I think are worth considering is, 1, Iggy mentioned this in passing, and that's the pseudo-harrowing. And for much lack of any better term.
We're not using another term. We're using that term.
Pseudo-harrowing. Basically, you have a cup of coffee with the dream before your ass gets smacked back into the game.
And I just smugly smile in Wraith.
Yes.
Go on, tell me more.
Okay,
I
so,
just like
so,
that. Yeah, I like the idea that you have a cup of coffee with the dreaming itself before it throws you back in your body.
Okay, so again, in the relentless egotism of dying, okay? So, because as somebody who deals with death in real life, death is one of the few things that should be in large part about you. Your death
Oh,
should be
yeah.
about
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
So you get to be the center of attention. If you died saving the freehold, you dueled with someone and you lost. You risked it all against a dragon. Like that story matters.
Even your more ignominious deaths,
Ev-
as you learned an important lesson.
Yeah.
You bit off more than you could chew.
Or
know.
you did the dastardly deed and you got caught.
Or
So
the red cap
so the
bit
only
off
way
as much as
the
they
only
could
way I'd be interested in Brian's two session knockdown is you got killed the first session, you're out. Next session you come in, you have a scene, an in-depth scene with whatever storyteller you have about what the dreaming wants to tell you. And it could be as enigmatic, as cryptic, as maddeningly obfuscated as Brian likes to make every scene with an owl for some damn reason.
Psychopomps are like that.
Or it can be as straightforward pat on the back, or it could help you resolve something in your backstory. Like, you always had a thing where I was a troll and I never thought it was good enough. My dad trained me super hard. And then you could have that baseball, hey, let's play catch moment in your psyche because your father's proud of you because you went down swinging. Like, it could help you advance your story.
Speaking of which, well, I just want to tail onto that for one
Sure.
second. Another idea I had was that following up on this transformative experience, when the character comes back, at ST discretion, you offer a free merit flaw respec.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
Think
no,
about that.
That is... I mean...
I feel like you've incentivized getting killed a lot.
At ST discretion.
Good! Good!
And yes, good. Oh my God,
I mean,
yes.
Well,
Good! Good! Go fuck yourself. Good.
I have thoughts.
Well, let's talk about how this could work, and then Bucky can shit out.
All right, you're
No,
against
no.
it. I'm for it. Let's
Yeah.
do this.
I just wanted. I actually was going to agree with you.
Oh.
That's
That's not good TV.
no. But one of the things about a not harrowing, would be, it's a really good time.
Maybe.
Although I'm not sure if I like it at session, but it's a really good time.
It could be a downtime.
I do like it.
Talking about how your character's going,
It's a good time to get feedback from the STs and have a scene that's all about role playing.
Yep.
And
That's
there's
nothing to do with chops.
2 lines of communication, and
Yeah.
you get to actually like creative role play, like talk about like different scenes, play something out in a way that's letting the ST or the game, the dreaming, communicate to you how it's seeing what you're doing and how you're seeing what you're doing, and that's like you, the player, the character's nature, the character's all those things about the character. That's a real nice way of touching base.
And I like the idea
about those things.
I like the idea that he has that it's a chance to make a small change.
Yeah.
Or even in some cases a major change. So like
I want some uncertainty about whether the person who comes back from Chimerical Death is literally speaking the same person.
well, so that's because you're a monster.
No.
Quite the other way. He's going full Campbellian. The
No,
hero
no.
returned, but changed.
So the dreaming reshuffles your deck and deals you a couple fresh cards after telling you what it thought of the way you played your hand. That's great. It can be done as a downtime. That's great. If you're a storyteller, and I saw somebody say something that it increases storyteller requirements. It's not increasing a storyteller requirement in my mind. Having a scene is a storyteller job. So you're gonna have a scene with this player, whether he's in a pseudo harrowing or if he's just at session.
And if you
might
give them,
get a scene
and
with
if
him.
you give them effectively 60 days to have that scene, or 31 days to have that scene.
There were times where I saw STs that would have given their left chimerical arm to be able to take a player to the side in an accepted fashion and be like, hey, this is why you got. Or, hey, kudos for going down and not breaking genre and not playing you instead of playing your character because you wanted to be alive one more session.
Right.
I'm proud of the way that you went down the right way.
Yeah.
Right.
There's
And-
also a big tone difference between a harrowing, because you're not arguing with Oblivion and a bunch of specters. You're arguing with the dreaming. So it's a much more different relationship. The odds of having a good not harrowing, I'm just going to call it a harrowing. The odds of having a good harrowing are a lot
Much better
higher
in Changeling.
of like a, bruh, that was pretty boss.
Yeah.
I like what you're doing. What you did, probably stupid. You should learn an important Aesopian moral lesson from this. What lesson should I learn? Let's discuss.
I mean, every changeling's basically in my mind. Every changeling is a story.
Yeah.
Like you're telling a fable, and
Yeah.
it might be time to continue that fable. And like, there's the Scorpion one where like you die no matter this is who you are. You're supposed to kill that.
Yeah.
Or it could be a learned lesson fable, and you tell another part of the story. You get to come back as someone slightly different and tell a slightly different story, or you get to reinforce that this story is important no matter how much it kills you.
Right, like you acted completely within your nature. You did exactly what you were supposed to. You have done what the dreaming expects of you. It's time for you to be someone a little bit different now.
Or be that dude even harder.
But
it's gonna hurt. So is it worth it for you to tell this story? We think it is. Are you strong enough?
Right. And the other thing that plays into this about why we might have these more intense chimerical deaths is the one thing we have to remember from the setting, which is the changeling way is broken. Changelings are not being reborn anymore since winter has started. Which means no matter what faction you're on, you have a strong fucking incentive not to really cold iron somebody unless you really, 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 really need to. And you pack a lot of setting enforcement into that.
Yep.
Which also needs to be enforced. Which is another problem we have, where we have really great settings mechanics that aren't enforced the way they need to be.
Also, just quick,
Please.
little... Half of the kits believe that, per the book. Half of the kits...
I'm just taking the assumption that
under the assumption that the she portion about accepting the changeling way and them now being changelings as well, versus that.
Why is everybody Iggying? This is weird. I am a fan fave.
I know. We told you.
Yeah.
The other thing about the ST workload, I think it's the exact opposite of...
It's less work than a new character.
It's less work than a new character, and it is the opposite of, the Dross bank box or the previous generation of Werewolf, where you had to operate your gigantic spreadsheet of all of your renown for all of your players because it was so much more complicated.
Eat my life.
It's creating an opportunity to tell story, which gives, honestly, we talk a lot about player agency. It gives you a ton of storyteller agency to be because storytellers are players too. And
They get to work together. I mean,
Yeah.
this is a point of synergy.
Yeah.
No one side is benefiting more. It's a symbiotic thing.
One of the saddest things I've ever seen in a LARP, and something you said reminded me of it. One of the saddest things I've ever seen, saddest things you can see in a LARP is a character that is too new to have their own way, or a character that is just burgeoning, just becoming part of the overarching story, and just letting people in, dies. They never get to tell their tale. They thought of a character. It was all in the background. They developed it. They started interacting with the game.
They finally have legs.
And right when they're about to hit their stride, they get killed through a series of bad chops.
Right.
Chimerical Death makes it less likely that can happen. And if there's a character who's even earlier, who's like he hasn't found a way in yet, you as the storyteller in that pseudo harrowing can give them the plot cookies they need to come back and matter. It's like, oh, you know what your harrowing is? It's a series of prophecies. Fwap. It's a bunch of visions. Boom. You see a clue that nobody has. The dreaming gives you an interesting perspective. You come back with a feather that is a clue to a thing that you don't even know how it got into your hand.
Right,
but it only glows when you hold it. It is not a burden on the STs, in my opinion. It's an opportunity to open up someone else's story, and it's a tool in an arsenal.
And this is what I'm saying about Chimerical Death offering us such a tool that it would be foolish not to exploit it as much as possible. And the other thing, and this is a little bit esoteric, is that I think players will be more comfortable going a little balls to the wall on costuming if they don't have to worry about their $300 outfit being trashed when they get gacked the first con they go to.
That's true. Let's also be a little bit less esoteric because we're kind of dancing around it.
Yeah.
CVC is so much better this way, y'all.
Oh no!
Because
it's harder.
It's harder. It's better. It's deeper. It's not just the fact that you and this person have the Oath of Cross Swords. It's you and this player can go all the way and not have those concern and not have the extra dread of, well, what if this doesn't go down right in their mind, and then we have to freeze a venue for however long when things go on.
Well, he'll just be back. We don't have to freeze the venue. He'll be back shortly.
Yeah.
So let's not.
So here's the thing: you kill me, and you realize I'm gonna be back.
Yeah.
Are you gonna kill me? No. You might find other ways of dealing with me, but in order to get me, if it's hard, if it's like it. What's that thing that the IRA said to Margaret Thatcher? In order for you to live, you have to be good. In order for us to kill you, we only have to get lucky. The difference is we only need to get lucky once. That thing where if they want to kill box you, if you're a great player and you're playing like a survival based character and you've managed to wily coyote your way out of a bunch of kill boxes, you only got to misstep once and you're dead. And that's the end of your story. And that's kind of sad.
I mean, that sort of thing is proverbial. I mean, Chicken Little only has to be right once. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
The getting got, it only has to take once.
But now it just ups the ante.
I still have the couple of points I'm saving to the end, so I want to know if there's.
I'm ready.
The one other thing I will say about
I'm sorry. Somebody just pointed out. Well, they'll just use cold iron to kill people. We have to make killing with cold iron equivalent to Diablerie.
worse.
We have to be worse than Diablerie.
People don't care about Diablerie.
So here's the
anymore.
thing.
It's just you've got the black veins.
No. Here's the thing. The dreaming is dying, and the dreaming knows it, and it doesn't want it.
It's trying to hold on to as many changelings as it can.
It's not even, and the dreaming doesn't care that you're a changeling. Dreaming only cares that you are part of the dreaming. You're part of the web. If you poke a hole in the overarching fabric of the dreaming should punish you for hurting it. And since it's also you, that should hurt like a motherfucker.
And it's fair to say here, Cold Iron does ag. If there's no changeling way, killing you mortally is just as bad as killing you with Cold Iron. Every death like that is the Knight of Iron Knives, which is the whole reason that the Accordance War happened, or continued in the fashion that it did until
real murder needs to be incredibly bad.
Yes.
Cold Iron needs to be genre reinforced, but I mean mechanically, you're still super duper killing their character. Cold Iron's just also pissing on their grave.
There just needs to be hard-coded mechanical punishments that are bad enough that your combat wombat isn't going to want to do it.
Right. Or, no, I don't. Here's the thing, and this is where I waffle back the other way.
Okay.
I want them
it often.
I want them to look at it and be like, this isn't worth it. And until it is.
Yeah.
Until I have to do this. I have to be willing to end myself. It has to be that worthwhile for me to do.
John Scott says, remember the problem of balefire from Wheel of Time. When you use it, you're burning threads from the tapestry. That could be a good analogy.
Who the hell?
I only got like one book in.
I actually read all the books. I just like pretending ignorance on everything.
I know. We know. We've
been
been predictable.
Also, the one thing that's really nice about, let's say, talking about the Oath of Crossed Swords, after you're dead, the person who died has the choice to continue or end the oath. No harm, no foul, and it gives the killer the opportunity to say, hey, is this over? Like, are you done? Mm-hmm. Like, like a bouncer.
There's all sorts of
Are you done?
These
Are we doing this? Are we still doing this? Just stay down, bro.
All right.
Go.
Okay.
You're up, Bucky. Go.
So, I thought about this a lot. Would you? Oh,
Fingerprint, sorry.
So, okay.
I'm out of beer, and thusly out of creativity. It is my muse. It is my elixir. I am a drunken
first things
immortal.
first. 2 games. Love it. Slight modification, though.
Too much. It's too much.
The one thing that I hate... No, I think 2 games is great. The game you're at and the game you're going to. However, not being able to play a character at all, I don't see as a feature. And then that just basically requires people to have a travel tune, occasionally be that travel tune. It all gets very muddy. Especially in smaller games. I feel like it's a little bit too penalizing.
Punishing the game.
But the problem is what he's... Well, I don't want to shoot down before you popped it.
So a couple things. There is so one, you become essentially mundane for the rest of your session. You're going to have your harrowing. I completely agree with harrowings. Between sessions.
Pseudo harrowings.
Before the next one, which will then take on the 3rd session. So you were chimerically murdered at session 1.
Yes.
Okay. You are going to have to do that scene later, or maybe if the ST wants to do it now, that's fine, but it's not going to take for a while. Your changeling seeming is essentially comatose. It's suppressed. It's going to deal with the dreaming.
We need a mini chrysalis. I forgot to mention that.
Right.
We're going to go back to that.
Well, we're getting...
That is actually a problem based on the rules. Yes, I agree.
So, you can still be you. You still have your mortal seeming, your skills, but in a changeling game, you are in an incredibly vulnerable state. We don't allow things like Oh, I forget everything. It would be great if all these people that I'm unnaturally going to trust show up and then paddle me with some glamour to get me back in the game. None of that. Fuck that. I hate that. It's the death of everything. But they are vulnerable. And they know that they're going to start forgetting. But the other thing is, I don't like comboing it with immediately forgetting everything. It's too convenient. It's too hand-waveable. Your Motley's just going to pick you up anyway. And when they don't pick you up, if somebody else picks you up, either NPCs or another Motley, it's all going to feel very abusive. That road I don't like. You're you. You still remember what you lost. You're going to deal with it in the downtime. The next session is your session that you're vulnerable. Then after that, you're back to playing your character. You never have to take a break from your character, but there is a window.
That, you know what? That I would like to make that a poll on the Facebook. Would you rather play 2 sessions, and then come back,
it's
or
really
one
only
session?
1.5.
Well,
Unless
playing
you got in the first 5 minutes of the session.
yeah,
you're at.
which is when a good kill box should go off. So like, I'm a monster. I'm a hypocrite and a monster. So that if playing a session with your depowered self is on hard mode.
Yes.
So I would like to see a poll where we ask
Mind you,
people
if
if they would rather play a session with their depowered self, rather just be out to 2 sessions and back to 3rd, or if they, and just stop yelling.
We just kept yelling at each other. Because
We actually yelled more. We cut each other off because it's better. It's worse. Actually, it might have been better television if we were actually
so
shouting
Bucky,
over each other.
Bucky's idea basically is
Okay.
the worst thing ever. No.
Here's the thing. You want a stage between death and permadeath. Your face aiming is gonked. You're underpowered. You can still bamf people out to basically slow down the CVC part of just murdering people. There's 2 factors that basically interplay with this. One is just knocking them into the dreaming with Chimerical Death is fine. The other one has to come from the disincentivizing killing people permanently or cold iron killing, which is we talked about like permanent physical manifestations of that or mechanical downsides.
So I had a comment once. We were talking about the idea of like a way the Dreaming marks you as a cold iron killer,
Right.
and I came up with an idea, and they immediately said that would look super cool. Everybody would want one.
Well,
So,
it's the Black Vans problem.
I think
now
it
in
needs to be
Vampire.
more of a mark of the betrayer and less an awesome silver lock.
Yeah, no, I'm still against the silver
Steel.
lock in your beard or your steel gray
Steel, yeah.
lock in your beard or your hair. What I'm for is like
It's
I
getting
don't
there right
know
here.
what a face looks like when it's had scabies. Like you want something not cool, something diseased. But what you call it? I think there's.
Separating.
I
Oozing.
honestly think that at the end of the day, the answer will be a middle path between these things. Chimerical Death should last. I still think 2 sessions: the session you're at and the next session. But personally, I dislike anything that says you completely cannot play your character. There's a lot of
But if they're dead, they can't play that character ever.
Yeah, this is a step up.
You have to.
This is the middle path.
My middle path is you're out for the session, you have no downtimes. Period. You
That
are
is something
shut
that I
down.
hadn't even thought about.
You
That's
are
a really
shut
good
down.
point.
You don't get when you come in the next game. You are at your minimum glamour
Ooh.
because
Spicy.
you don't have the opportunity to see your dreamers because you're not alive as a changeling. You can't be. You can't. And
Wait, you
and
can't.
ch-
It's just a
Wait,
slightly
wait,
less
wait,
underpowered state than I was.
wait. You can't defend your chimerical backgrounds at that time either.
Sure.
So like now's the
Also-
time to mug you.
Also, we have to establish the fact that you can't just be that. I'm forgetting what's the new not childling. My brain's not working.
you
Fledgling.
start as a
Fledgling.
foundling.
Foundling.
Foundling. Your foundling can't use their hands as a defibrillator to pump their extra glamour into the knocked out Eidolon to bring them back up. It can't be that simple.
Yeah, no mortis or thumb
interjection.
jump panel.
CVC final killing somebody sends you, the person who killed them, into a chimerical death.
I mean, I like the
I think
idea
it's an
of it.
interesting idea. I think it's not something worth thinking about. I'm not sure it's a final
If
answer,
the
but it's
devs can
intriguing.
work in a not harrowing mechanic, I can see them going into a not harrowing. But I don't know about them just like getting bonked. By
Also,
Oh
the
no,
there's-
I could see the dreaming rips open. A reaper steps forth. He grabs you and pulls you in, and the dreaming closes. Like
There's
you-
also the old question about is there a difference between a forgetting and a Chimerical Death, because those are things that are different.
One thing that
in the
concerns
slot.
me about the rules is
Steak in here.
one thing that concerns about the rules is written is the implication that the person who's been knocked into a Chimerical Death doesn't come back until they've had a hot glamour injection.
Yeah,
I don't buy.
I don't like it. It was lame in the old version. I mean, it was really lame.
If you get Chimerical Death, you should pay your dues.
Yes.
And then you should be able to come back. You
Yes.
shouldn't need somebody to run up to and defibrillate you.
No, but if you start slipping into banality, that should be a way to
Oh,
bring
well,
down.
absolutely.
Getting killed is banal. Killing people is banal.
But I think it should be a
Or
separate
banal.
mechanic where it just runs the clock and then you're back.
Yeah.
As it stands, the killing it's 3 ennui for Chimerical Death, 5 ennui
Yes.
for gacking their
I just
meat
want
skin.
I just want the system to have teeth.
Yes.
I don't really like everybody having 2 characters in general. I like the idea of having a character and actually playing them.
Correct.
I get that it's custom that everybody has 2 characters, but if they are chimerically gotten, there's room for great downtime scenes, there's room for great not harrowings, there's stories to be told there, and your underpowered self. Players are so used to walking around as golden twinked out gods that I like the idea of just having some vulnerability for a change.
Also, we don't have Anarch, IA, and Sabbat VSSs. We have Changeling VSSs. It might be that the game in Boston, as an example, is very unseelie heavy, but it's a Changeling. It's a Changeling city. You're gonna have Shadow Court and Sealy members there. It's not put away in this little here's where we're on Sealy and we ravage people and
This is the Diablo LARP.
We could go on about this
Yeah,
forever,
we're-
but I think we're going to put a pin in it.
For 12 years, we can
Well,
go on about this.
till the end
Yeah.
when there's Q&A. So save your questions
Yeah.
to the end.
But let's talk about realms. I want to talk about Actor. You guys ready to talk about Actor?
yes.
Do you want to read it off first?
Yes, read it, because I don't.
I figure we can go through most of these with one exception.
Now,
Relatively quick.
Actor is innate to the Puka and the Satyr. The Actor realm draws on unorthodox rules in order to strike a target with precision, attacking from unexpected angles. Spend 1 point of Gnosis to invoke the realm. Once invoked, a
One
cantrip...
point of gnosis.
Jesus, I'm even reading it. Spend 1 point of Glamour to invoke this
They
realm.
both start with G.
Yeah.
And
What? No, that's not
If
true.
I may finish. Once invoked, a cantrip combined with this realm does not count towards the target's maximum number of potential attackers in the current round. Can be utilized against the target once per round for each category: physical, mental, social.
You thought about it for a second when I said that's not true.
No, I was.
You did. You thought about it.
Ant in me immediately frenzied.
So, Actor seems really, really good, but I don't see it as utterly broken.
It's broken.
Oh, a lot of Actor is bad for your health.
Listen, I would never want to be on the wrong side of a motley of satyrs, because it's
Satyrs
all
don't-
going to be it's all going to be physical. It's all going to be physical actions, and it's going to suck real bad.
And Puka, since they got, gangrelized, as you said, which I think is a great term
Yeah, it's
for
perfect.
it. More combat-y, more animalistic, more mean, and probably wear more flannel.
It's warm.
It lets them tear into you. Like, none of this, because people have been a little bit spoiled by the, 2-1-1.
Yeah.
This is how I cope with it. This is my mental strategies. And it's 4-3-2? What is happening
Or
to me right now?
or
How many of you are
or
there?
straight out 15.
Well, I mean, that's a shit ton of changelings with Actor. But yeah, I mean, look, there's no upper limit to this.
Yeah.
There's no cap. If you fuck with enough changelings, they will... So the whole concept of changeling magic breaks the rules. This is how changeling magic breaks the rules. If there's enough of them, and you've pissed off enough Fey folk,
They'll
they can
figure out
fuck
which one you
up.
suck
Hang on.
at, and they're
This
going to all
bonus can
do
only be
that.
utilized against the target once per round for each category: physical, mental, social. So it's only plus
No,
one.
I'm sorry. It's +1, but the 3 different people can each do one of those.
Yes.
You don't need celerity to combo.
No.
with.
Right.
Yeah.
It's 3-2-2, then 2 and 2 if you have the Wayfarer.
Right.
Right.
So once you start adding on Wayfarer,
Yeah.
this keeps cascading.
It gets worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying it gets. No, I'm not. You can't do 15.
I was
But
exaggerating somewhat.
It is, but it is cascadable, and I don't think anybody's really used to dealing with 2 social attacks in one round.
It's been 3 or 4 years since anybody had to deal with getting hit 5 times and punched in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
And I think this is the thing about this, and we're going to cover this a lot when we talk about realms. Is we can talk a lot about what we think these will do in the wild. These need to be the realms, particular, need to
be
shit
play
play
tested.
test the shit out of them.
Yep.
I like the way that Actor is powerful. It's powerful in a real crunchy, this is how changelings cheat. This is changeling magic. They're breaking your reality.
Yeah.
They are fucking with your system, man, and they're just gonna cheat.
Yeah.
Just throw your vape on the ground.
But not so
part
much
of
that
your
it's
system.
untenable. Shout out to my mage fans out there.
There are no. There's nobody. There's
No,
nobody
they
out there.
You are
They
100%
exist.
wrong.
They're
What?
mage fans.
They exist.
They should be ashamed
They're
of
Venn
themselves.
diagrams that don't quite overlap.
They should be ashamed
they're
of
just
themselves.
very hurt people who have watched so many game sessions.
They're not.
devolve
They're,
into esoteric
they're not.
arguments.
They're not watching us because they're still stuck in 1999 and they're arguing about the Matrix.
They're just-
Stop.
You got to be mean to keep him keen. I see what he's doing. Don't even.
Anything else you want to say about Actor? I mean, this is
No.
pretty straightforward.
Love it. It's powerful in a very crunchy way. I think it's fine. It's dangerous, and things in other genres should be shitting their hearts in terror because look, changelings aren't particularly tough. They're not particularly strong. They don't particularly do a lot of
But
damage.
they cheat.
But
They
I
cheat.
But I do want to
And
be
I love
their. I
that.
do want to be their friend because if they can use those arts to make it so that I can hit people
Well, and I
more.
don't want to cross them because they can do those things to me, and I can't deal with multiple socials coming in, cascading over multiple rounds.
I mean, condition, when we talk about condition, we really talk about a whole set of stuff that BNS has never touched
This
before.
this
Yeah.
is the thinking person's realm.
This is a thinking person's realm.
This is the chess realm.
Chloricon, red cap.
This is the chess realm.
So, same 1 point of glamour,
Playing 3D chess.
and
Well,
you may
all realms
choose.
cost 1 point.
Yeah,
of glamour.
okay.
So just saying. That.
Yep. You may choose one of the following conditions, except you may choose a set of circumstances in which your power will not apply. Any individuals who are subject to the condition are exempt from the effects of the power. For example, except on Sundays, except anyone who is my ally. So that's
Except
right there.
anybody who's my allies, I think was written a little bit earlier when they didn't realize that they didn't make any range damage or AoE powers at all.
That is a interesting gap
We'll
right
save
now.
that for the arts discussion, but there's some holes.
No, just.
Well, I mean, we're gonna go
Just
over-
flip it. Just put your thing down, flip it, and reverse it. You just have a Heather Bomby heal that affects everybody except your enemies.
Well, the healing one is really if.
There's only one power you want
can make it
that
accept.
accepts.
I know, but if is really strong.
No, well, the circle power that benefits
Yeah.
your enemies, you want to
Yeah.
use it with conditions.
So the power's duration begins when the condition is met. So when this hourglass is depleted, if you attack the queen, it's not listed, but when your troll runs out of health levels,
They're healed to full. Hooray!
I mean, condition if is, I think, the strongest of the three.
Oh yeah.
It's the most.
Except
versatile.
is really only super duper useful with one art.
It's the thing that makes the Chloricon being here make the most sense. The if is the this is gonna happen when you do the thing your contract says you're gonna.
All my buffs will go off if I am attacked.
You do have to tell
I
people
preset my
about
buffs
the
in the first
condition.
hour, and then I
Yeah.
walk off.
Because there was a lot of things of like, oh, can you do this? Now, there's ways of getting around that
Yeah.
that have already been discussed. Like, if somebody puts on this armor, it turns into cold iron. Lol. Like, if cold iron is an item attribute, it seems perfectly kosher. There's a lot of fun uses of if you can't target a driver, for example. You can't say, because you'd have to inform them, if you do this, this power is going to go off. But you know, if a Ye-Do?
Ye-Do.
If
Ye-Do.
a Yield-Do wants to be like when you merge onto the highway, your car turns into a tree, it could tell your car that's going to happen. And have fun with your rapid deceleration.
The other thing I really like here, remember all that Inglenook that your Boggins have for
Oh,
all your
yeah.
kill boxes?
Oh, yeah.
Now your Boggin Major Domo is setting up all of the traps all around your freehold.
I just really like the idea of spending the first hour with my red cap Corby,
And a
just
notebook.
hanging out and just going
This is
okay,
my list.
and then just working it out, and then having it like set, like or if I'm ever attacked or if we're ever separated, and then just all of a sudden I get a massive amount of debuffs. I'm out of glamour for basically the rest of the session. Like I set it all up. If at any point in the rest of today this happens, and I have like 2 glamour that I'm just bipping about with, because when someone hits me, all of a sudden I turn 17 feet tall and start throwing fireballs.
And the last one is until. So until the last petal of this rose falls or until you've cleaned the laboratory. Now, one interesting thing. If we're actually living in Summerverse with nigh infinite glamour, you can create logic gates with this.
Yeah. there are issues with it. Plus, I think it's sort of weirdly crossed with time, which doesn't really... A lot of people keep mixing up the different effects of time and until. But...
It may have been 15 years ago, but we all remember.
I I'm still under an
I-
art used with the time realm. It hasn't been 20 years yet.
I think that there's a lot of potential. There's probably a lot of potential for abuse, but a lot of things are only going to come up weeks, months into
Conditionally.
the game. Yeah. They're going to come up organically, and I think that's okay.
And
I appreciate
irrelevant
you.
of any potential issues with this power, I personally think this is the most Fey power in the game. Like,
Yeah.
just
It's going to be the funnest one. It really means you. This is the power that means you have to get your kill box. This is my personal belief as a mook.
now you have to
as a
literally
guru.
program your kill box.
Your kill box has to go off in the first hour, because if I'm at an event and there is the VIP that we have to keep alive,
That's me. I'm very.
the VIP,
Right, no,
you get
absolutely,
money.
you get your boggin and you get your Yildu and you get
If
your
you had
red
the first
cap.
hour of the game to write all your conditions,
You just drop everything through condition and like get all his buffs ready to go and staggered, and it's like you have a layers. Like if you're attacked, these buffs go off. If those buffs go off and then wear off, you get this. These powers last until this.
Well, you can only have one single beneficial condition realm on you at any one time.
on you physically, but you can put them on items.
Oh yeah.
It's a magic
the item
wand.
thing is
Ding.
an uncollapsed waveform.
Yeah,
because
and that's gonna happen. So
that's
if
why
you
I said
want your
they
kill box,
yield you suddenly targeting, like, well, I have to tell you all the terrible things I'm going to do with our memorial.
So like,
I don't have to
like,
tell your stuff.
Like, and then it will magic wand and give me the powers. So if you want your kill boxes to go off, you have to kill that dude before everybody just drops their buffs on him.
The nice thing that I like about condition and it being limited to the one is it saves you from the precast problem. Like I don't want
the D&D
Sorry.
contingency problem.
Yeah.
Sorry, NWAD mage players. I don't want the list of 10 precasts that are all of my shit,
Yeah.
so I can walk in the game.
That's what's gonna happen.
and be Teflon.
Yep.
But you can only have one on you, so
And then you put it on your shit, and then and then you just when I break the stick, this happens.
and this is why the game has developers to fix
Right.
it from
This
being
is why it's in beta. You can just limit the amount of wild magic you have on you to maybe one to yourself, one to your stuff.
Yeah.
Because once it cascades too far, I don't want I don't want players to hand STs a flowchart
Yeah.
of like.
I was gonna come with a dry erase board and just chain it around my neck, like. No?
So the next one I think is less incredibly powerful than it really changes sheet design, and that's Fey.
I love Faye so hard.
So Fey is spend a point of glamour,
Oh.
and you get the
you have the focus.
you have the focus, and I think
The end.
this really changes character design. Doesn't
Oh,
it,
yeah.
Bucky?
Wait,
Fuck
do,
versatile.
wait, do she have Fae?
Well, no, but I
Why
actually,
don't she have Fae?
I honestly believe that she should have Fae, not time. Right now, trolls have Fae.
Yeah, only trolls. have
Only
Fae right
trolls
now.
have Fae. I honestly think, not that I think trolls should have time, but this is cool.
Me too.
I think that
Troll should have C.
maybe. I think that she should probably have Fae to reflect their she-ness of
Yeah.
just being great.
But they're better than everyone.
But
and
they're
we
better
hate
than
you.
everybody else.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, anybody else can drop 8 XP. It's not like
Yeah.
it's inconceivable hill to climb, but it's so great, it's going to definitely make a lot less people just take versatile constantly.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
before this point, was, I don't want to say it was a de rigueur merit, but it was a well that a lot of builds went to, because in many ways it was required
Oh,
to
yeah.
really
Well,
Or
Build-
Spirit Vessel. And
well,
Epoch.
wait. The
Right, Spirit Vessel to basically get your versatile on the back end by starting with int and then getting wits or something
Yeah.
like that.
well, I mean,
It's-
like
Or being a
it's
pander.
or
For
I mean,
one
like
point.
if you're a red
Exactly.
cap and you're going into with their social art that's available to them.
Dread.
Okay, so what's the main focuses of most dread?
Well-
the ones that they're not allowed to have.
yeah, this is currently an issue. I don't think Red Cap should be required to get the Fey Realm to have one of their in-kith powers be usable by them. Right now, the Slua and the Red Caps have Dread. Whatever focuses they need to split, like 3 manipulation, 2 charisma, or,
Yeah.
or whatever, just change your appearance. Sorry, devs, change appearance to something else, because you don't
Charisma.
give. You change it to charisma. You don't give the
Like-
Nas
like I'm-
animals
I'm-
and powers that have appearance.
Like I'm
Just
not
don't.
like I know a bunch of people who aren't very attractive who are also very scary. Like I don't understand.
Right. I think it was just an oversight. Again, not shitting on anybody. It takes work. I don't think they even thought of it. Plus, a lot of things change at the 11th hour.
Yeah.
This is an easy fix. You go in, you split it between manipulation and charisma. Done. You fix strength.
And I think the next one, which is the one that really is definitely the most exploitable by far, is nature. Nature allows you to do.
Broken.
Nature is so ridiculously broken, and I say this with
you
love.
do get it for
It's
free.
completely broken.
They don't spend glamour to use it.
So
since they're one point
I will
there.
read it, and it doesn't sound ridiculous at first.
There's
Okay,
nothing
hit me,
you'll
'cause
do,
I don't-
can't do.
The nature realm transcends the limitations of petty nomenclature.
Nomenclature.
Thank you. This allows you to affect individuals, entities, and objects with your powers when they would normally be impossible. Spend 1 point of gnosis to invoke this realm when you activate your cantrip. Once you do, you may ignore any restriction with regard to targeting that would normally apply, affecting it the same way a human or supernatural target would be affected. For example, you can use Heather Bomb to heal a tree, or exercise the power of Sovereign over a pod of narwhals. Hi, Jeff Fowler. Or
What?
make
I don't
Dreamcraft
get
to determine if computers truly dream of electric sheep. All targets must still be subject to normal rules of visibility and targeting. Intangible concepts, energies, or phenomena do not apply. You can't use this to literally cut the tension in the room, heal a metaphorically broken heart, or talk your way out of the laws of gravity. Objects affected with the nature realm fully adhere to the rules of every power used against them. For example, if you target a rock with sovereign power that prevents your target from attacking you, in the event that the rock is thrown at you, the collision would cause no damage. Bucky, go.
Oh, I wrote like a list, but one of the big ones is going to be nature and arboreal, and nature and what's the animalism power with wild tongues? Okay, so what was
That's
it?
some puka bullshit. I didn't read
I
it.
could summon 5 squirrels. What was it? 5, 3, 1. 5 squirrels, 3 dogs, and 1 bear. One big thing. Ranks 1, 3, and 5 respectively. Cool. Well, once you can summon, let's go whimsical first. I would like 5 rank 1 dentists, please. Well, let's go non-whimsical. I would like some rank 5 Nas to help me out, or rank 5 Fomori. Everything's
Don't
kind
think
of
small. Why not Black Spiral
I
Dancer
would,
A-bombs?
I would like.
No,
I
no.
would like a rank 5 BSD.
No.
thank you.
Let's see clear.
Nexus crawlers.
You want 5 rank 1
Nexus
Nexus crawlers.
Rank 1 things are garbage, but rank 5 things where you don't have to respect targeting is hilarious. You just summon up the werewolf. I mean, you might end up in the Sept because they're convinced that you're one of them because you have a magic power. The technique that fooled werewolves into believing whole clothed you're a werewolf and had no chop now looks like it's totally super serious face and not ridiculous. Where this is the new ridiculous. This doesn't get more silly. But what rank 5 anything, it's like, you know what? I have a weird problem. All I know is I'm gonna need some movement of the mind, some Ob-10 and some Demon rank 5 Wraith! Fuck it! I can do literally anything.
Plus, there's also the really. Here's the thing. On the other side of things,
Just,
go
rank
ahead.
5 Bonar to then give me powers, including the power to summon more things
It
that
has
have
to be-
other powers.
but
we
it has to
eroded
be
that.
better.
So we eroded that.
But it has to be a Theurge.
Yeah, it has to be a
Yeah.
Because he's gonna bring spirits. And
Right.
I'll buy werewolf floor. I don't give a shit.
The thing I will say about this is that
Find a playground full of kids, age them all 30 years.
Arboreal.
That's the-
You're gonna
not-
grow up healthy and strong, and you're gonna do it now.
here's the thing. Brian just threw that out there, but it's kind of what I like about this.
Kind of
Not from a
genre.
game balance perspective, but from a storytelling perspective.
Fairies doing
it's
fairy
a very
shit, yeah.
fairy thing to do.
Well, you can bless
it's
a
ki-
car.
It's kind of like Chris Perkins once talking about the development of 5e Dungeons and Dragons. There was a conversation where they're like, "There's only one race that gets the +2 to wisdom. Why don't you balance?" It's like, because the other, it only makes sense for the Fearbolg. No one else, and the Hawk people from the one plane shift Magic the Gathering thing for the fake Egyptians. Like, those are the only ones that get the wisdom. Why? Because they're the only ones that make sense for it.
Sure.
We'll eventually get to, probably not today, Metamorphosis and everyone who has Metamorphosis, but if it's a changing shapes is a very thing.
I just don't think the Sluice should have it. Their central tragedy is that they had lost the ability to change shape. Don't then give them metamorphosis. I'm
Listen to
sorry.
this man.
I'm just saying it
make
again.
them
Listen to
immune
this-
to it.
I mean,
It's their
'cause of-
power.
that's lousy.
Yeah, make them immune to it. Like no one can change their shape.
I mean, I'd be more for that than them having metamorphosis.
Just bake it into their weakness.
All I'm saying is that one of their central tragedies is that they had lost the ability to change shape, and then they start with metamorphosis. And it's like,
Lol.
I mean, I know the old books shouldn't rule the new books, but I don't even think they changed that. You know what I mean? I didn't read the whole section too carefully, but I was just like, come on, guys, stop giving Slua shape-changing powers.
Yep.
Anything more we want to say about nature?
Nature is going to be broken in ways I haven't even conceived of, because once you can change target type, you can use any power on anything. It's amazing. And the Yildu, oh my god, they don't even pay the glamour tax for nature. There's nothing the Yildu can't do. It's going to be great. Everything's a tree.
The other thing I'll say...
Everything's a tree.
Wait. How is the world not still covered in forests if they can do that?
It's like
Not
that
enough of them.
The Ireland problem.
No,
Yeah.
they just metamorphosis you into a Yildu.
The other thing about nature...
Yes, I jump on you. We're both
Nature,
squirrels.
nature is
Oh,
the
that's-
answer to people in the previous
Are we still
versions
on?
of this game who would say, "Oh, well, it doesn't say I can't do it because the arts and realm combinations previously, it was completely Calvin Ball, and it came to your storyteller's discretion, and if your storyteller felt bad saying no." Spoiler alert, I felt bad saying no. I felt real good killing your chimerical friends. Real good.
Next up,
Sorry.
I thought
Prop.
you went to group over that.
prop.
No.
A realm which no one has to start, and no one will have. What Kith?
I wonder what Kith will get it.
Who will it be? All right. Spend a point of glamour in a simple action. If you do so, select the art we wish to attune to your prop. Once you do, the target prop gains chimerical properties for 1 day and immediately takes on a more impressive appearance. It can be bestowing.
Temp treasures.
Well, you're going to have to get used to the idea of 4 quality guns and 6 quality gun treasures. I love the idea of a pistol that has armor piercing, knockback, knockdown, like spray,
Full
Yeah.
auto.
spray or full auto, whichever one you want. It's
And
also,
range.
I don't know,
Long
deadly.
range.
Ooh,
Long range.
Ooh, long range. Ooh, that's super fun.
Well,
And
that's
then
5.
Hidden knives to automatically succeed
Wait,
at whichever
wait,
one you
wait, that's only
surprise.
That's only 5, and the 6th is cold iron.
Yeah.
Sure. This is honestly, I think, going to be why people splash naming and prop is going to be to have 4 to 6 quality weapons, and that's going to be the magical swag, the poor man's treasures, and treasures are going to be greatly enhanced by prop and naming. The first 2 levels.
Bucky, to interject, a voice in the wilderness says, "Still only does 2 normal."
I mean, I opened with Changelings don't do a lot of damage. I mean, they even took away the bonus damage that, like, Celerity gives guns. Instead, they get more dodgy. Which, I mean, Changelings aren't super deadly. However, there are ways to bootstrap on other things once you get enough qualities onto something. You don't really need to do damage anymore. Because
I would rather debuff somebody than damage them.
Well, no, you're still going to damage them.
Yeah, but I
you're
mean,
still doing
it's
your 2.
about the debuff.
Yeah, Changelings aren't werewolves. They don't mythically tear your goddamn face off. Some of them can, but it's
They
special.
do something mythically that is super dangerous to anything in a combat. They're really good at putting things to sleep. So a knockout power.
Hidden knives and knockout is like a whole.
They're
subsection
really,
of just
really
arts.
good at putting shit to sleep for 1,000
Well,
years.
they make were spiders look like fucking chumps. They're like, you have to like chop, fucking chumps. No, I start a combat. You're knocked the fuck out. I'm dragging you back to my Shadow Court altar. We're not. This isn't a talk. You don't get to talk. You get owned once I have this power. You can shut the fuck up and like it. I don't need CVC. Come with me. We'll get into arts when we get into arts, but as written right now, is there a better power than Hidden Knives? No.
Oh, hidden knives. When we get to hidden knives.
I mean,
Whew.
No, I
it's
just-
way too OP.
So prop.
So that's
Prop is, everybody knows it's knockers. We're just saying it.
Yeah.
I think we're good on prop. Unless anybody has anything else they want to add.
No, I like prop. People are going to need to realize that part of the Fey magic is going to
Every
be...
motley's gonna need a prop guy or somebody who's conversant in the prop and the item. Because if you're the item quality nerd in your crew, consider coming in with prop because that's where you're gonna shine.
It's pre-balanced talents, essentially.
Yep.
It's when you could just... I'm going... Well, what does your werewolf do? I'm going to slather myself in unguents that gives me insulated...
Unguent.
And,
Really?
And... Really? Well, whatever. That gives me, I can't be knocked down.
Believe
I can't be. Yeah, I can't be knocked down. I've got the heavy armor quality or full body quality. I'm ballistic. I'm, all this stuff.
This is just turning into a 20-minute
like
video of
touching
you
myself.
rubbing yourself,
webcam?
and I am
You are.
about it.
Yeah.
You are absolutely.
Okay, so the next one is Scene. Now, Scene, bang for your buck, if we're just looking at sheer mechanics, is probably one of the best.
Scene plus heal, the end.
So
this
spend
fight's
one-
going forever.
So spend 1 point of Gnosis, and now you can affect up to 2 other people.
Yeah.
With whatever power you're using.
Glamour, not Gnosis.
God!
They-
We need a swear jar.
Just don't lecture me on it when I do.
We need a swear jar or
I will.
something.
I
We need
will.
a
I will
Gnosis
let.
jar.
Listen.
I mean, the glamour jar. Damn it.
make it more different, and we won't make that mistake. All right, that was mean. I'm
That was
sorry.
mean.
That was mean.
These are the things
So,
like from
The
the
Possibly-
point,
mid
of, the
90s.
point of
Aside
us
from-
trying to engage with the devs isn't to be mean with them. They work hard.
Are we trying to engage with the? I thought we were trying to engage with the
Well,
We're
players.
trying to engage with the
players.
people.
We're
You're
trying
engaging with the
We're
players.
looking for the
Hang on.
people.
I'm
Monkey's
trying-
engaging with the devs.
I'm
I'm
trying
engaging
to
with the
engage
STs.
with everybody because at the end of the day, I hope to see them all at game.
Yeah.
It's not like they don't fucking play. They all play. You're nerds. Like
So, Scene. What are some things I'm not seeing about Scene, aside from making everything a shotgun? Which I just love the idea. Bucky's got something. Please, Bucky.
No, I
Who's
mean-
the target the self that don't have challenges anymore. I turned myself into a squirrel. You're a squirrel. Is there a challenge? I don't fucking know. Do you still have to spend a simple action to turn it off? Who the fuck knows? But if you do, you're still a squirrel till your next action. Good news, you're fucking dead.
What if you can't turn it off?
Well, you can always end a power by spending a simple action. If it's a self-power that you could activate yourself, you could definitely turn it off. So that's not the collapse waveform. The collapse waveform is me turning off the
does say-
squirrels.
I go
If
on
the-
one initiative.
It does say if the power used requires an opposed challenge.
It doesn't.
Then I know. Then you make the chop, but it doesn't actually say anything about if power doesn't
I
require
know,
a chop.
it's almost like no one asked me and didn't see the obvious flaws with it.
Whirlwind's transformation. Level 4 metamorphosis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're squirrels.
No, we're squirrels.
Get 'em.
It's squirrel
Wait,
time.
wait. We're squirrels.
Why squirrels? Squirrels have limbs. We're eels.
No, we're fish. Die.
Jellyfish.
No.
We're jellyfish.
Wait, no, here's the thing. All right, one of the if you're the one using the power, you're the one that gets to choose the qualities
Yes.
that you get. The two qualities.
Yeah.
And you definitely aren't going to pick the quality that lets them keep their physical traits in that form.
Oh, no. Well, I
So,
mean, you're
first of
better
all,
at dodging when you're an
before
eel.
before we dive into this and have fun with it, we must acknowledge that there's no way this is design intent. Like
I
in the
mean-
final version, there's no way.
Did you
Wasn't
not
it?
see the sword in the stone? We're going to have a contest, and I'm going to
Don't
win
get me
by
wrong,
becoming
guys.
bacteria.
Guys, this can be fixed with a sentence.
Yeah.
If the chomp didn't otherwise require a challenge.
If the target is unwilling,
If they're not willing, then it's going to require a challenge. Okay, it's still really cool, it's still really powerful, but it's no longer, we're eels,
And my
you're
friend's
dead.
killing you.
Yes.
So
You know what?
we're
always
both
wins in combat?
cockroaches, and here comes a boot.
I love that you have gear, which is great, because we're eels now, and you don't. And now you're dead.
You know what eels can't do? Operate guns.
metamorphosis.
You are so happy. You are so happy
I
right
read
now.
it and I saw everybody picking apart the powers, and I'm like, oh, I cannot fucking wait. I cannot wait.
All right, so
The one thing I do want to say about Scene, back to my Chris Perkins conversation, Scene for the Boggins, the Ishu, and the Slua make complete sense. I
scene for the she makes sense.
so does Faye. I actually kind of like Faye for the trolls.
Everything's good
because
for
we
she.
know that we're not getting Kronos because that's stupid.
Who's we? What we?
We the players and the STs. Kronos isn't.
Yeah,
the
no.
big C's not
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah.
So the she having.
I'm for the K and the
time-
P coming back, though.
I'm
which
for
is
the K and
another-
the P and the D, which was already
The D's-
noted earlier.
The D's
Oh, yeah,
I
it's
love
coming,
the D.
it's coming in with the Baku.
Yes, you do.
I love the D.
The D will always be here
And
for you.
timestamped.
The D will always be here for you.
Late
Clip
night
that, send it
admissions.
to me at RBG Plays on Twitch.
Changeling.
GIF it.
GIF it.
Yeah.
GIF it. Yeah.
Gif it.
No,
GIF it.
it's GIF.
It's
I never. Whatever. Not doing this.
Listen, motherfuckers, say scuba. Say fucking scuba,
So
and then
you
tell
take
me
us
your
to the
rules
water
apply to
for the
acronyms
apparatus.
because they don't. That's not how common usage works.
Time
You're
round.
wrong.
Time.
I like honestly,
It's
time.
not on your side.
That is a
No, it's
deeply
not.
problematic song. It's a good song, but it's deeply problematic. Here's the thing about time. I like it. I actually think, if anything, it's slightly underpowered.
Read it to me.
Because
If I may.
the big one is doubling durations, but
If you succeed, you may apply one of the two following effects to the cantrip, but there's four
four of
effects
them.
here. Okay, so
Just ignore that.
yeah, you can try one of the following 4 effects to the cantrip, altering its duration. You can extend it. If your power doesn't require an opposed challenge, you can add an hour to its duration. So
Awesome.
if you have Wayfare, you can Wayfare for 1 hour instead of 1 turn.
It makes it super. It makes it super glamour efficient. There's
So you
uses
can
for
run.
Yeah,
it. There's techniques that basically did that. It's. I
Yeah.
think that's fine.
That's fine.
I'm not super worried
Yeah.
about that.
Because
Because
duration-
remember, you're paying a glamour just to use the realm to not pay glamour again
Yeah.
later. So if you time your Wayfarer like most Shi are gonna do, unless they get Fae, which they should have Fae, make them have Fae. They're still spending 2 glamour up front to save glamour for a few rounds.
Yeah.
That's basically like the blood technique.
next one is duration. You can see how much time rounds the power lasts.
Mhm.
Toolboxy, but I can see how in a clever player's hand that could be really powerful.
That's the most powerful effect they have.
Whoa, really?
Yeah.
Walk me through why.
Oh no, I'm just saying because the whole power is underpowered. There's really,
No.
like that's the best they got.
I know. I really like maintain, which allows you to break, gaze, and focus, and just leave.
Yeah.
That's busted.
Yeah, I agree.
Most of the powers
No,
you need
no,
gaze
no.
and focus for.
No,
They don't exist.
Or
no,
line
no,
of
no.
sight.
No. This is interactions with other games. It's like you walk into Werewolf. I have gaze and focus, and you're like, no, you don't. Deuces.
No.
You can just take away. You can break gaze
No,
and focus.
that's
and
not
then-
how it works.
No.
Okay,
you
then
still
how
need
does
it
work?
for the power.
I turn the power on. I have frozen you in place. Normally, I have Eyes of the Serpents, which to use a vampire example.
Right.
You have to maintain eye contact.
Yes,
I'm just leaving.
there are no powers like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we went over.
I know.
Wait,
I
not
mean,
defensively, offensively?
Yeah, offensively.
yeah.
Once you
You s-
activate the power, and then you just fucking leave.
Let me put it this way: most of the powers you need gaze and
You turn
focus
people to
for, which
statues?
there aren't many gaze and power focuses
Gaze the
currently.
Lord.
Which is weird because it sort of underpowers the Chloricon thing, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you have gaze and focus, you need gaze and focus to do the thing, and then some of those things have effects, but very few of them are like really particularly reliant on like needing time
Yeah.
or being able to break them. I mean, it's like kind of cool to do like some of your more socially powers and then be like, then behave yourself even after I'm gone. That's usually when the fucking scene ends.
Right.
It really makes sense for the this is why this is the toolboxy way it makes sense for the Shi.
Protocol type things?
Protocol type things.
Yeah, I mean that's
And the
but
last
that's
one
literally
is-
it. But the scene's usually over.
And the other one is double the duration of any power used against any individual that requires a chop.
Yes, well, that's their example
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they use, which is like if it puts
Oh,
you
wow.
to sleep, it puts you to sleep twice as long. That's actually
Yeah.
a pretty decent amount of time at that point. It lets basically other people come into your scene because you're like, well, you're asleep now for 15 minutes instead of, I don't know, whatever the base time is. Whatever. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, that's it. It's doubling the duration. Doubling the duration of either the offensive or buff powers is what it's useful for. It's glamour efficient. It's really not a sexy realm, to me anyway, because these are...
Because you're obsessed with nature.
Honestly, so that's all of your realms. I think nature will be fixed.
I don't know if it needs to be... I mean,
It needs to be fixed.
It just needs a sentence.
Nature-
It's
yeah.
unopposed or
Right.
something. Yeah.
No, there's no course. And same thing with scene.
But...
That needs a clarification on things that don't require an opposed chop.
The thing about
Yeah.
nature, though, is scene can be fixed with a sentence.
Yes.
I don't know how to fix nature. Because basically, the concept, I get. Like, you know what they wanted to do here. The problem is with the way that many of the other powers works, is some of the effects are going to be...
Just say no supernaturals, man.
Well, you could say no
wait.
supernatural. What?
There is something comma spliced in the wrong order. I think it might change your interpretation of nature. I'm going to read this exactly. Once you do so, you may ignore any restrictions with regard to targeting that normally apply. That's not a period. That's a comma.
Okay.
Affecting it the same way a human or supernatural target would be affected.
Okay.
So the implication is you can only pick things that would normally affect
Humans
human
or
or supernatural targets.
Well, right now, I don't see how that changes anything. Because you can pick, since they included human and supernatural targets,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you can change target type. Anything that targets a tree can now target you. Because
Well,
you're human or
no.
supernatural.
But what you can't, for instance, take something that normally target a tree and use it on humans.
Why not? That's literally how it's worded.
You ignore any affecting
You
it
may-
the same. Oh, you're right because it's inclusive, not exclusive.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think the
And
intention.
they actually need to drop the term supernatural,
Mm-hmm.
but then You're dealing with it might be an overcorrection
So I think
and a nerf.
I think the intent here might be you have a power that affects a supernatural creature or a normal human. You can now apply this to
The
plants and
opposite
animals.
category.
Right, or vice versa,
And that-
which is clearly how it was also intended
Yeah,
because the Gilly do have it.
Yeah.
They don't pay.
You'll do.
Okay, the Yield do have it. They also don't pay for it when they have
Yeah,
a merit.
right.
And the powers that they have are both the examples I used
Right.
for how they're going to use it when the game starts.
Right.
The issue is how are you going to make Wild Tongue work with a writing of nature that doesn't make nature garbage?
Right.
Like, I don't want overcorrect. I don't want a Fiona 4 situation or
What level is Wild Tongue?
Well,
2.
So make it suck. I don't care.
I mean, but it's,
I don't think
it's
you
an
wanna-
open-ended problem with all of the powers because anyone can buy any realm. It's a minimum XP investment.
yeah, and I
You can
don't,
get it after
I don't
one or
think
two
you want to
sessions.
nerf arts to fix realms. I think you need to
No,
be
right.
targeted and fix the
You
realms.
got to fix the
Good
realms.
point.
I just I know how to fix scene. I'd have to sit down and look. It's not my fucking job to fix it, so I was gonna point it out. But I mean, if you guys want me to fix it for you, I'll give it some
Maybe.
thought. But right now, I'm just gonna point
We're
out.
just talking about it, man.
I'm just saying it needs.
We're
to be-
chatting about
Chatting about changelings.
I've never asked.
Have you,
to, like,
have you
be on
seen
any of
how I
these
go when it's?
groups.
Have you seen when it's about the RP? I go to 60, and then when it goes about the combo
mechanics.
splices.
Yeah.
So, it's fixable. I just don't know exactly how. Scene is fixable in a sentence. I mean, that's
Yeah.
pretty easy. Don't get me wrong. It still makes scene
They're all
amazing.
still really, really good. I mean,
Oh,
all
they're
of
great.
these are the. I really think, again, realms are the defining feature of changelings.
I mean,
Realms and chimerical death.
if you currently have scene and you fix it, you still are able to use arboreal or metamorphosis in a way that's intrinsically like forced transformation
Yeah.
on things that don't normally transform, but fuck you, we're changelings. Like, that's how we do changelings.
I do
magic.
like "fuck you, we're changelings" as the tagline for the
Realms
game.
are
Yeah.
fuck you, we're changelings.
yeah.
So I can only be hit
can
twice.
I use can I combine primal with scene to give everybody bones?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Can I
Well,
combine-
not everybody, but
Well, my friends, can I give
Yeah.
can I combine primal with Oaken Shield to give everybody fortitude?
Yeah.
Can I combine primal with Wayfair to give everybody celerity?
Yeah.
Holy shit, I have elder level physical disciplines, and that's just the physical ones. And that's the thing about realms.
Yeah.
That's the difference between
a fully
I've said this
functioning
before.
motley should be frightening. They have ways of working
Yeah,
together
yeah, yeah.
that basically nobody else has. I mean, packs can do rights, and packs can all. Well, you know what? It's basically equivalent to having a totem. You just get a bunch of supernatural powers. These are
Yes,
just
but
a
you
lot
can
more
fix it
crunch.
on the fly. You can
Yeah,
change it as
exactly.
you go, and it doesn't give you a ban.
Yeah,
Yeah,
changelings are good. I mean, this is. Don't get me wrong. I love the crunchiness of it. I love that they're good. There's clearly a couple of problems. They're solvable. Just don't know how to solve nature just yet.
Also, there was a lot of conversation earlier about, well, it's just going to be too normal. It's just going to be too normal. Oh, we don't have a ranged power yet. If K is for Cryos and P is for Pyretics,
Yeah.
and either of them come back, because everyone's
see.
going to want Will-o'-the-Wisp.
I think too many people right now have Metamorphosis, and it's started becoming a gap filler for we don't know what to give them. Please take Metamorphosis away from Slua. And I think that I don't think as many
Man, I
people should
loved
have
Cryos.
Metamorphosis as
It
have
literally
it.
had the best. It had the best art name, the best power name I've ever seen.
No.
If
Gelid rhyme.
I just think KP can be rolled into one power probably. It could be two, and you spread it around a little bit. You should have one single target range power
Oh, how about
and one AOE.
I mean, like you could. I mean,
just
like
to make
it could
balanced.
just be called Elementos, and you pick an element,
that's fine.
and you go with it, and you're stuck with that element for the rest of the character. It's like when you learn it. What did you learn it? What did you learn? Cryos.
Lightning.
Yeah, lightning. There
like,
you go.
yeah, treat it like some of the, wow, I can't think at all. The Gangrel Protean powers, where you have a form, that's your form.
Now, guys, we have a half hour left in our budgeted time. Do you want to start Arboreal?
No,
Uh,
I want to do Q&A.
Okay. Why don't we
Yeah,
talk to
I
our-
just want to say one
Okay, yeah.
one more thing because it was mentioned. We talk about Chaos for Crafts, P's for Pyretics. Dreamcraft is mentioned directly.
Yep.
yeah, and the
I
Baku
think,
will have it.
and
The Baku are going to have it.
I also think that the Slew are going to have it.
Oh.
If it has dream like getting at your fears
Yeah,
and
yeah,
putting
They are
something in
boogeymen.
you-
Replace Metamorphosis with it.
yeah, replace Metamorphosis for it. That's just the one thing I
Oh,
wanted
no,
to say.
yeah, high five
So,
that.
yeah.
That's a great idea.
Because that's the first thing I thought of. Because I have Dias for Dreamcraft.
I mean, somebody
on my
did bring up a good point. Do the Slew have any hiding powers?
Yeah, no, they
They
have
have-
Skullduggery, so they have Veil. I mean,
Yeah.
they've got the Veil, Blur, Obfuscate 2 power.
Yeah.
That's right.
That covers
They
it.
also have Grace for that, so they can
I don't
like,
have
be
that one
invisible
down.
on the ceiling. They're going to be sneaky.
So while we're waiting for questions,
Sneaky-ish.
why was Chicanery's name changed?
I don't know.
To make it more metal.
Make more metal.
I mean,
Yeah.
You think I'm kidding?
No, I
Yeah.
don't.
I'm
Yeah.
I think people are tired of mispronouncing it. And skullduggery is only one way to really say it.
and I think that they made it a lot. They gave it more teeth than Chicanery had.
Chicanery was a joke. Skullduggery is not a
I
joke.
built whole characters around Chicanery. It's
Yeah.
so
Chicanery.
great.
No. Chicanery means like
Oh yeah,
a
yeah.
humorous
Oh yes,
aspect.
literally a
Yeah.
joke.
This is about murder.
Well,
Okay, if you could switch realms to different kits released so far, which?
she get Fae.
Yeah,
Trolls get seen.
Yeah.
Trolls get seen. Because they're supposed to be like battlefield generals. I could see them giving away their powers. She are better than you. They should have all the focus.
If we're moving the trolls to scene, as much as it doesn't make sense because of Inglenook, I want to move the Boggins back to prop because that is
Yeah, make them pay for fucking scene. Again,
well, no, it's not even that.
8 XP.
It's that the Boggins do things
I really don't like the. I really don't. Yeah, the bargains do things, so it's like.
The whole thing was like, hey, you get the triple time thing. Boggins make things, whether it's a household or a sword.
true.
Boggins make things. Props are things. Give them prop. Put them next to the knockers.
Yeah.
Don't take away.
Wait, do the
that
Clericon get conditioned?
Yes,
What-
Clericon and Redcaps get to.
But why do red caps get conditioned?
Now
They
here's
should
one
get
for
something
you
else.
guys. I'm kind of intrigued by moving Slua to Fae. Not for the physical slots, but for mental and social.
that's why. I mean, what they have?
They're seen now.
They're
seen.
seen now,
Yeah,
which
they're
is. Okay,
But
But-
I will
here's
never
the-
shed a tear for the Slua as written right now because right now they have seen and they have hidden knives,
Yes.
so they just win.
Oh right. Yeah.
Until those powers are fixed, they're the most powerful starting low XP kith in the game.
Yeah. Not to get into breakdown right now, but you're in stealth with Veil.
You say surprise.
You have surprise. Knockout.
Three of you are knocked out.
Yeah. Now we can begin.
Because taking out one person, impressive, but his friends will rescue him. Taking out 3 people is like half a game sometimes. Or is 3 people walking down a hall at a con, you're like, cool. Combat started, and you all lost. That's the good news. And then you slink away with your weird tacky skin and webbed fingers to go drink tea and talk about how terrible everybody else is. Like,
can you believe they don't have hidden
They're
knives
so
at
fucking
sea?
emo.
These
How do they
savages don't have
function?
knives in
Savages
scene.
don't have hidden
How do they
knives in
live in
scene.
this world?
Can you believe that they even stepped to us? Do you have a secret order of assassins? Clearly not, but we do
I like-
because we have seen it.
I like the idea of somebody trying to jump a bunch of Slua in the middle of a tea. They wipe them the fuck out, and
then they go back to having
Yeah.
The one thing
Listen-
How dare you?
How dare you?
I'm sorry.
I say.
I'm sorry.
in the midst of this conversation, we keep saying, "Well, we'll just buy it." It may be worth saying that the 8 times current number
It will
might
get
be
expensive.
too cheap.
Well, no. It's only cheap for a minute.
Yeah.
Although, look, it's MES. We're gonna get hit with the XP hose. That's
Well,
just,
hold on.
Spray it all over my face, Daddy.
We are MES officers here. We're talking
Whoa.
about
And Iggy.
Iggy.
Careful with the Wii. You got a mouse?
That's why
You got a mouse in your purse? What's this Wii? What are you, French?
we're also probably the largest group that's going to beta test this, and I
Is
don't
that a fat joke? How dare you?
No, it's near.
no it's
Oh, okay.
well it's not just near.
Oh, MES
it's,
in general.
It's MES in general.
we are 3
There is
Americans.
not another organization, as far as I'm aware, that is running BNS on the scale that we are. I'm sure there are some that are running Vampire BNS at the scale that we are, but not that they may not adopt Changeling at the same rate. So I think that the whole
More fools.
the whole MES is not going to there's going to be too much XP problem, which in winter, let's have some thoughts. But the too much XP problem isn't. We're talking about game dev, not MES dev.
Right.
So that has to be considered.
That's something.
I think
that's something a separate MES dev team needs
I
to
think
consider.
that's.
on top
Okay.
of
I
that.
think. I think. That's
Right,
the
but
most-
it's also something that the BNS dev team needs to consider.
I think that's.
And if we're
No,
here,
no. I think that's probably the most brilliant thing you've ever. That's one of the best things you've ever said. And I think that's
love
one of the
fest.
best things I've heard on this podcast.
Let
The
me
one thing, and it was a sentence and it was a throwaway in there. It's like, it's winter. Fuck that XP. That you really, I mean, you want to tone it down. You want to give the harsh realities of winter. Yeah, 4 XP max. Like,
Here's the other.
Oh my god. Winter is here, and I'm so sad.
Here's the other thing I want to say about crafting this game. The Atlantic City is about to have the second blockbuster Changeling event.
Yeah.
In a closed casino.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be massive.
Waking Dream?
The people who I think that's.
I do find the term blockbuster event with a beta slice to be a little bit weird. Who's running?
Well,
No.
This is
This is
Nordic.
Oh.
Like
You
I
know
started
my thoughts
like
on
I
Nordic
started
lore.
I started talking about the beta, and or I started when we knew that the beta was coming, when there was certain knowledge coming out, when we weren't talking about the MES thing, I was talking about character. Brian and I, the Bryans, collectively, we both had Facebook posts about
what we think.
concepts.
Yeah. But what we think games should look like.
I mean, that's what we're still doing
and the
now.
stories. People were telling the stories of their characters in winter. And
Yeah.
I had at least 2, and I think maybe 5 different people on my post about that, not aware that the beta was coming or had been released
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
point,
yeah.
who said, hey, remember when we played Changeling together? You can play that character in Atlantic City at this blockbuster event.
Yeah.
This game...
Are you doing? Are you paying you for this?
Huh?
No.
No, it's...
Sorry,
It-
I didn't mean to shit on you. I
yeah.
just thought it was funny.
Changeling, like, it's great.
oh,
All right.
I'm sorry.
That was no.
I know let's not. I'm not gilding the lily. I mean,
A lot of people have
Changeling.
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
strong
people have a lot of
feelings
very.
in a way that they don't love everything else in the
it's
world of
it's no
darkness.
exaggeration to say that Changeling has changed my life, and it is no exaggeration to say that Changeling has helped me save several lives. It's not an exaggeration in the slightest. If you care to know the story, go ahead and message me. I will bore you with the details.
I just had fun with the. I like Changeling, not in the same way that some other people do, but I think it has a lot of potential for story. It's my second favorite genre for RP and story. Top is Wraith. And
Right.
it lets you explore characters in a way that you don't with other ones. And in the old version, as long as you kept the creep factor down and didn't let anybody skeevy play, it was a super fun game. Now, most of those skeevy elements have been removed again. Bravo devs. Cool. Like, I'm psyched.
Changeling, even though it ended around 2007, is the only reason that I am a 17-year member of this organization.
Waiting for
So,
it to come back.
Yeah. Well,
Cha-
not waiting for it to come
Changeling
back.
was actually the only cam game I ever played in. I played in Connecticut for quite a while.
In Western Connecticut?
Yeah,
Was that?
Western Central, yeah. Hartford, or there.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
little bit in the
Okay,
south.
I got a question for our viewers.
Well,
Yeah,
I was going to
sure.
say, it's not really Q&A.
I know. I have
Yeah.
I have a question for our viewers.
Stroking that dick.
What one thing has you most excited in the beta slice, or what's one thing you wish you had seen in the beta slice? Because I
you
think
didn't see it.
that you didn't see. So like either the thing that's got you most excited because we're doing positive, or the thing you most hope for, the thing that you wished had been in there.
I want to just point out one thing, because there probably still, there's still conversations about it. The crowded oceans and waterways of Changeling, I think it would honestly be interesting to have some sort of United Mermaid Alliance.
It's under the puka.
No, well, but the Lorelei aren't. But there's a lot of mermaids.
I mean,
there's Selkies, there's Lorelei,
Well,
there's
There's Fish Puka.
there's Fish Puka, there's Fishy Slua.
I'm
don't
just
know.
not. I mean,
I disagree with that.
I haven't seen the materials yet. None of us have yet.
No.
But I just
Just
one
this.
second. What I don't understand is you already have the Selkies. Why are the Selkies marginalized and then this new kith being brought into being when we already have the Selkies?
They're new. I mean, they're all old.
No, the Lorelei are BNS creation, and they might be amazing. I
haven't seen
until
it
I
yet,
see it. I don't. I'm
That-
left with the question.
That
And
is my
that's-
biggest concern, because
Why is that a thing? Why not just use the Selkies? For
because
that?
a lot of people fucking love the Selkies.
Right.
And I'm not trying to say that as a negative. I know a lot of players who love the shit out of the Selkies in a way that no one loves the shit out.
They're
That
mermaids.
very few people love the shit
They're
out of the
not.
puka.
They're not mermaids.
They're not
Well,
mermaids. They're seal.
They're seal.
Yeah, but they're like-
they're seal changes with fur coats.
Right.
Listen, there. Laurel King Hamilton.
What was that? What was
in
that
the
movie
first
that
Mary
came out?
Gentry book.
What was that? Was that? It was an animated feature. It was relatively recent. It was about
Oh yeah, it was
Selkie.
about Selkies.
I remember what it is. It was one of those like.
Was it a Ghibli?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was a Ghibli, and I looked over and I saw like I'm like, is this about Selkies? And my wife looked over at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like,
It is-
it was the
it was
dark
about-
time.
it was about
so
Selkies.
it was about Selkies. Okay, so
The
there was
thing
a
is-
comment.
is-
Oh.
I'm sorry. I just about one last thing about Selkies.
Yeah.
Is the thing that really is interesting about them when we have all this aquatic-based shit out there is the Selkies are shore walkers. They interface between those two worlds.
Yes.
So having the Selkies in play fully, as opposed to hand-waved in the puka, would I think be better for the game structurally. Even just bridging with Apocalypse and other games that I've seen stuff, it would just make more sense to have the Selkies developed. That's
Yeah.
all I'm
What?
saying.
Yeah.
What I
want the
what I
Selkies to
so-
be their own
all right,
thing.
so
I
we're
want
go-
them to be their own thing, and one last thing. I don't want them to be rolled into the Omega with an extra like rarity merit, a
Oh,
la a bloodline,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where you are the Puka Selkies, which are
Pukas
different.
who's learned to swim.
Yeah.
No, I don't
Iggy,
like
go.
Oh, so there was who is Ed and Nan?
that.
A person.
I think that's Josh.
Hey Josh, what's up? So he said he wanted to see nobility in houses. She don't have a purpose without him. I disagree.
Well, it hasn't
One,
been written
it has.
yet.
I disagree with that idea whole cloth, and I'll tell you why. It totally makes sense for noble houses to fight against each other when there are enough of them to fight against yeah. But when winter is coming or is here, like there's enough of them.
Can I
there's,
agree hard with you real quick in a weird way?
What?
I want the houses to be shattered and underdeveloped, because what I don't want is more Silverfangs.
But there was nothing on the Silverfang houses. They weren't even mentioned in the book. They were mentioned obliquely twice.
People just imported everything from the old game,
Which is what they're going to do here.
which I don't like.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
But you
Here's-
have a sundering.
here's-
This is after the
here's-
apocalypse.
all right.
This is the long winter.
Wait, no, this is my bag.
Okay.
Okay, go.
I was a Silverfang player, even.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
I'm the Marnicus. I played Silverfang for
What?
years.
You
Actually.
played a Silverfang?
You played a Silverfang?
Does that really surprise
Did
you?
that really work?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I out that you.
Yeah, I got.
So there was no, like I like the idea of there being very little about the houses. I like the idea of the houses being shattered, and I like the idea of them closing ranks and circling the wagons, because I like the idea of the players looking at each other and being like, "Listen, we can have 17 different houses, or we can argue amongst each other to make one or two houses." And then decide which among us gets to rule it. Because the problem with having like 7 or 8 different houses, which is the problem in the Silverfang game, the werewolf game before this one, is that it's like, I come in, I have 3 of my friends, we pick a house that nobody in our area is, I get to be king the end. Like, there's not enough player numbers to support in game like that.
I just
So
reduce the number. Have some alliances. Have been
no,
made.
have the houses have existed. Have them all have been shattered. Have the broken bloodlines of the houses have to realize that they can either live together or they can die individually, holding on to the tattered remains of their raiments.
I actually disagree with you.
Sure.
But I do think in the same direction. I do like that. What I want to see is I want to see the houses is being somewhat broken and opened up to all the kids,
Yes.
as opposed to just being a she thing.
Yeah.
I want the nobility open to everybody.
Yes.
I want the she to have a bump, and they'll get that, I'm assuming, through a marriage, just like the Silverfangs did. But the houses being open to everybody opens up a huge avenue for RP and skullduggery and clawing your way to the top.
But they were before. They just would like.
Yeah,
less
they
my,
were.
my Boggin was a Fiona Knight.
They
But if
just-
you only have 3 she in your game and they're all of different houses, there's no game.
There's no game.
But if everybody can be in a house, so then you have a whole subgame, and basically you're getting a wider
had
variety of buckets for people to feel.
No, but yeah,
He
but
did.
that's-
He's
that-
just saying make it super text, because right now
Yeah.
it just looks the same as Silverfang.
Right.
Is that these are the houses as the she.
The one thing I will say, and I'm speaking as the least APOC-minded person here, did the houses in
Yes.
Revised have merits and flaws?
They had
The
individual,
Silverfangs.
basically, because they had individual powers.
Okay.
Yeah.
The difference is
Ice dancing motherfuckers.
Here's the thing: the Dougal are defined by their flaw. The Fiona and the Gwydion are defined by their
flaw.
Well,
the Gwydion rage.
Also by their merits and the not being able to be scared and the...
Yeah.
I would like it if you got adopted into a house. You had to take on their band, as it were. Sure. That'd be great. I don't...
treat it like a totem?
Yeah, you have to take it on their house band. Like, we don't eat dog meat in this house, and we don't refuse hospitality. Trust me, this comes up later.
Yeah.
No, nothing. They had nothing.
No, I think that's good. I think that's really good. I have a question for Bucky. Bucky, since we're here, why don't you... Actually, I gotta go to the bathroom. Why don't you talk about the factional merits and how you fix them?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so...
I thought we were doing Q&A, not listening to Bucky.
Well, because Brian Murphy is our moderator. We're gonna let Bucky talk.
But he's gone, so he has no power here. Well, let's run rampant while he's gone.
Okay, so...
No,
I'm gonna sit over there.
No, you're not. No, you're not. We have a set.
We all have to move.
Yeah.
I just go around this one. I'm the new Brian now. I'm your daddy now.
Okay, so...
I'm not your stepdad. I just fuck your game.
So there's a couple things. One, I think the Sealy merits, one thing needs to be nerfed, and then they generally...
Shitload of comments we could be talking
and we will. Brian wants me to do this, so I'll do it quick. We got to trim the conversation nonsense about reducing Bedlam, because fuck that. It's stupid. It makes Bedlam toothless. It makes what could already be a bad mechanic even worse. So just cut that sentence. You can't just talk somebody down for Bedlam.
We should just ignore him. He's not here. He can't make you do things. No, fuck that. We have a bunch of people interacting with us. Let us interact with them.
Let's put a pin in that. Let's go to the comments you want to talk about.
No, let's talk about it.
We usurped you. The commenters
we're not. Listen, we still have arts to go through before we get to merits.
Fuck that. Okay. Sorry, so somebody wanted to talk about, I don't know who Ravnos 13 is, but how's it going? Houses work like camps instead would be a better method. That's exactly what Brian wants. Yeah.
Right.
So you can get adopted into it. You don't have to be in that tribe to be in that camp.
Then I think
and as long as you pick up a band.
Oh yeah.
I want there to be bands.
I would also reduce the number of camps in general, not because I don't like the writing and stuff, but I think you should just make some of those themes cultural
or overarching. Yeah.
Well, like with She, right? Like I basically have a character concept ready to go, and I'm thinking, well, I'll be Golden Sickle, and I'm thinking it should really be a lot closer. I hate to say this, like Revised Werewolf. Most of your werewolves weren't in camps. They just weren't. I mean, some were, but they were kind of a thing that you only did if you were really about something. You know what I mean? I don't know how to do that with still respecting the material. I think all of Golden Sickle could just be read into the She, that this is like a conversation going on in the whole kith. Yeah. So we need to like learn how to use phones. Like,
the other thing to dovetail off of our first conversation point, talking about the deflationary aspect of the Dross and Glamour game, when you have houses, that's another bucket.
Well, that when we talk about that,
when we get there, we get there.
All right, so
I was going to say, if we're going to talk about the comments, we're going to talk about the
comments.
That's what
I want to talk about. The comments.
Keep going. Your
flaws.
I just want to. I want to
fix them.
So there are people talking about the story of Selkies is unique in its sad theme of captivity and a mother's love wrapped up together. That's pretty badass.
I mean,
there's a compliment about me. We're gonna let that slide. Don't let my costume fool me. Let's see. There's an entire kit focused on the nobility mechanics that aren't in this slice, and that makes them rather gift. Yeah, but there are entire kits that aren't mentioned in this slice.
We also sort of know what they're gonna get.
Yeah, we do to a degree, and like but the stuff that's open, we would like to throw some ideas out to the devs.
Oh yeah,
and that's great. But the thing is, they didn't do that, but they still put the She in, and I personally think it's because they realized the She are so central to the dynamic that they would rather stick them in and let you bring stuff from your memory back from the old game and have them there for the beta slice because they need to be tested, than keep them out and wait for the nobility to come in with. And the nobility, it's going to require tweaking. They wanted to get feedback. There's a lot of stuff to do there. And so, like, while it's not there yet, there's no doubt that they're going to do something with it.
Yeah.
I don't think you can really roll it out until you have a full setting, and that usually will be in the Gamma, I expect.
Yeah. I mean, like...
The other thing I'll say, branching off of the sadness of the Selkie, and going to some of the things that we've had some private conversations about in regards to Clericon. The Clericon don't feel like Clericon.
Oh well, I mean,
They-
we could
they-
talk about fixing them if you want.
I mean, I don't want. I just want to just kind of put that out there that there's a certain sadness to them that, as the sort of like the former Lords of Terra, and also thinking of the fact that they have naming and the she don't have naming. I'm kind of going a stream of consciousness thing, but I feel like these things they shoulder against each other. And I just wanted to put that out there into the universe.
I do think the Chloricon need that certain institutionalized Gaelic sadness cooked into them.
Oh my
should
God.
Should we put a pin in this,
You
or should we talk
Just
about?
learn to smile, you.
Or should we talk about how to break
Should we
the
talk about
Chloricon
Happy
and
Drama?
how to fix them?
No.
What's that?
Like, do we want to tackle the Chloricon issue real quick?
No.
No, because it wasn't a question.
Okay,
We
so
can talk about that later.
we'll double back to that at some point.
I
when
know
it's
you
like-
have notes.
But it's like hidden knives level, easy to break a Chloricon.
Sure.
But okay, so just to get back to merits and flaws real quick while you read comments. So, Shadow Cord. Put the undetectability as the 1-point merit because for a bunch of reasons. One, undetectability really shouldn't be that big a deal. It's a 1-point merit for BSDs. I don't think it should be that much harder for the Shadow Cord to hide themselves. I realize it makes it a really good 1-point merit, but whatever, I don't care.
We're gonna
Two,
comment.
if it's a 2-point merit,
Unless they give us
the
more.
other
give
issue
me
is
more.
you've got 2 points to be in the Shadow Court and hidden. And let's say 2 points to be a she. How do you find she who are in the Shadow Court? You look for the worst she in the game. Because they only have 3 merit points. And I know that that's like metagamey as fuck, but it's also super duper true. I mean, like, how are you going to avoid that? Other
also
she are
game
going to be
theory.
like, other she are going to be like, well, I mean, did you take the she merits? And they're like, no, for reasons? Like, just make it 1 point. At least this way they can sort of justify actually hiding from players as opposed to just from like game detection powers. Then give them cold iron
Move
resistance
that from the
as the
Unseelie
2.
to the Shadow
That's
Court.
the big. That's the one that I think is why this conversation needs
Yes,
to happen.
Yeah.
cold iron is the Shadow Court's bailiwick. It should be the scary thing about them. Being Unseelie doesn't mean that you're running around like ending people's cycles. Unseelie is
It
a whole
just
thing
felt
to
wrong
unpack.
to me there. It just felt wrong to me there.
It's I just don't like it.
A huge chunk of the game, pre-fall, roughly half, was Unseelie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we saying that being resistant to cold iron was common among half of the
Yeah,
population?
that's too much.
Yeah.
Oh, because at that point, why is there a fear of cold iron?
It-
The idea that there was a deep, dark Shadow Court of assassins
That
who
used
dealt
cold iron.
who dealt in cold iron,
Yes.
because that gives them an extra cachet. When they
Yes.
step forward, it's like, yeah, we existed the whole time. You know how they thought it was rumors? It totally wasn't rumors. What about the stories about using cold iron? Maybe.
Yeah.
So
Ask me again. I don't think I will.
there is a black hat, gray hat thing with you want to make the Shadow Court sexy enough to actually be played.
But you can't.
You
The
don't wanna make
mustaches need to be relatively straight.
I understand why initially they gave the Unseelie the cold. I just don't like it moved to the Shadow Court. And then, while it's going to sound simple and mechanical, it actually has a lot of organic benefits.
I love
Give the
this.
Unseelie 2-point merit a flat minus ennui. Period.
Whole merit.
So what does this do? Well, it changes chimerical killing, for example, from a 3-5. 5 is huge. To
This is the new Unseelie 2 point?
this
Yeah.
would be the new Unseelie 2 points. Just a flat. I mean,
Negative
give it a cool
1
name.
to gains
Negative
of
1
ennui.
ennui gains.
So
period.
2-4,
So it becomes 2-4, not
which
getting
is
5.
because 5 is
big.
a whole point.
5 is the whole point.
Because
So
5 you're
that's
just
big.
getting a
If you
point.
want your Unseelie to be more badass, don't give them cold iron. Give them the ability to chimerically kill you.
Wait, which one is
without
which
gutting
which
to
which
5
is the
ennui.
which is the method to gain glamour that gives you on? Was it ravaging?
Ravaging and Rhapsody both do.
God, Rhapsody's
Ravaging,
garbage.
the Unseelie thing is 1 point, and that's why I love this
Because it
Yes.
means they can ravage
it,
for
ma-
no
it
cost.
makes their ethos
can-
make sense.
Right.
So
It also,
that
it not only that, but it also creates a space.
It has
where
a drowned benefit.
right,
which
because your
is kind
Unseelie
of a
now
deep
have
cut.
their own space where other people aren't going.
We meet in an office park. My Unseelie knocker is like living that office space life. They can keep sabotaging the Xerox machine.
Yeah.
And keep error codes going. And it gives them a space to operate where just the background ennui radiation keeps those fucking chipper pointy-eared keebs away from my cool stuff.
Also-
yes,
We don't say
Also-
Keeves anymore.
Knife ears, filthy fucking knife ears.
Knife
You
ears
love-
sounds like something nerds think is a racial slur. Keeb has stank. Keeb sounds like a real
I
slur.
can't-
I
Yeah,
refuse to say key
I
because
can't
I might
say it.
sneeze at the beginning of it
Yeah.
and you'll murder me.
I mean, there is truth there.
So there'll
But
be
if
none
you're
of
gonna-
that.
If you're gonna make it sound like a slur, listen. It's
There are enough slurs
It's
in-
short for Keebler elves.
No,
and
we're just-
get
we're-
back into your trees and make your cookies.
I
you
like the
Keebs.
idea.
Come here and
I
take
like
it all
the
our
idea of a
job.
slur that can't be confused for any other slur.
But I do.
It's also directly.
But I do really
think,
like
from
this
Chatterer, so
change
might
because
not want to do it.
it's a subtle mechanical change that completely changes
It has
the
this-
play style emergently
and
for
in-
the unsealing.
And it
It
does one
encour-
more thing.
it
Besides
encourages-
the place, this
so much.
other than the drowned and other than the rhapsody, right? Other than the ravaging,
Yeah.
it gives you the ability to have vampires as allies.
Well, they can treat with the darker things in
Because
the,
it
your
doesn't-
Seelie can talk with your Garu Nation werewolves. They can talk with maybe some of your more wild shit that's out there in the world. But when it comes to talking to a
Toreador.
Nos or to Toreador, when it comes to talking to the deeper,
No,
darker
it's
things in the
Toreador.
world,
Why? And it's Toreador, and then you go why? Because dark glamour. Because it's evil's not banal. Evil is its own thing. It has its own dark essence. Glamour. There's a way to get glamour.
that's the whole
from awful
thing about
unsealing.
unsealing, yeah.
So what's the most
Scary movies are still fun. Is the shortest way of saying that's how unsealing gets glamour.
Well, actually-
being terrified is still glamorous.
You're more likely to be late after watching a
But
scary
that doesn't
movie
mean
than a
that,
porno.
that
so.
every
True.
but that doesn't mean that every scary movie is just a splatterfest that's boring. That's banal. That's
Well,
why
I mean,
killing
but
is ultimately banal.
that. I mean, sexy, dark, blood spattered is basically the motif for Toreador. It's how they've been sold. So, like, if you want to interact with Toreador vampires, that's where Unseelie should be able to go that Seelie can't.
Yes, and it's just it's
Yeah.
very flat. It's very mechanical. It's also extremely simple, much like being silver tolerant or whatever.
What are the Chimerics? Just go over them real quick for me.
Then we're gonna wrap after we do this.
Because I want to address somebody saying that the Chimerics are awful.
No.
Well,
The two,
Yeah.
the
They're
2 point where
undefined
you
right now.
I'm sorry, the 2 point where you get a free 2 point merit and then also get 9 points
For
of-
free, basically.
For free, 9 point. It's
That
like
matter. See, the 9 points for free matter early game, but by year 2,
yeah, they
it
have
don't.
a lot of XP
But the big thing
efficiency
about it is it's a merit they would take anyways
Yeah, they're
because it allows them to be nobles.
the only reason that it seems weak to me is because entitlement, and I think I talked about this last time. Entitlement is there, low title is there, and mentions of holding and title as backgrounds are all in there.
I just want
Like
to.
it's not.
So there are not enough
hang on,
rules
hang
to
on.
decide whether or not she's good or bad.
I do.
Well, no. It's just that they don't. It's cool if this rule that is there is a thing. But if there's 3 different mechanics in there and they haven't decided
Oh,
which
is it
one
the
it is.
unsealing thing you're going to say?
No. What I was saying is right now I was only looking at fixing court merits and flaws. Give me a minute, guys.
We haven't gotten there
Okay,
yet.
okay.
This is
You-
really a whole
when we,
episode
when we were
about
when we were
merits,
having
guys.
when we were having a discussion
We haven't
about
even gone through arts yet.
when we were having a discussion about the unsealing merit and then making it so that they get one less banal
Ennui, yeah.
The thing that you said that struck me as the most powerful was a way to engage the players in making sure that this mattered. It's because
right.
if all of a sudden I have the ability to ignore one banality,
Yes.
and that's my advantage, when someone doesn't have that advantage gets involved, I'm sure shit gonna blow them in.
Let me rephrase this. So, humanity, beast traits, to less seeth traits. Let's take a moment of realness. Most of these subsystems are basically a joke. They only victimize the play-to-lose PCs.
Or as I call
They're-
them, the good role players.
They're ignored by a lot of
I
players.
said
They're
it.
ignored by a lot of staff because they just forget about them.
Yep.
Because they've never had teeth.
Well, they had teeth, but they weren't.
Right.
They weren't utilized.
To go full deadlock, you make the prisoners the guards. I hate to talk to you about that way, like that, players. I don't want to do you like that. But the easiest way to make a subsystem actually enforced is incentivize at least unsealy characters to enforce it. Of being like, no, this area will give you ennui. That's why I'm here. That's why you have ennui now. Like I said, it's a very flat mechanical thing, but it encourages a lot of organic setting reinforcement, genre reinforcement. It pushes it nudges them in the right direction to keep each other honest and to get benefits from it. I've got 2 real quick side notes. One, Rhapsody is terrible.
Absolutely.
It's
garbage.
completely mechanically flawed. If the Shadow Court do it, It's not that they should be ashamed of it.
They should
because
stop
it's evil.
existing.
They should just stop like, I can see if they're like, well, that's how we make, Dantean and stuff. Like, cool.
That doesn't even make sense
But-
because they become autumn people, not Dantean,
Right.
but...
They certainly shouldn't flaunt it. They should not be proud of it. All they're showing is like, we're the Shadow Corps.
We're
We're
bad at
terrible at
math."
math.
Shout out to my Landwind players.
Yeah. Don't just be like, yeah, it's something we do. We don't really talk about it because it's mechanically bad. And it's always been bad. It's never been mechanically good.
It's been good for the play to lose players. It's been something that makes
Well, it's
I
an
feel-
effect
I
that
feel an
once
RP
again,
challenge
it's an
coming on
effect
later.
that punishes only the play to lose players.
I stop calling them that.
The good role players.
Thank
It is
you.
an effect that, you're right, that is the proper term we should be using. Is an effect that exists only to punish good role players.
Right.
The people who look, the
You give
people,
them a mechanical
the
disadvantage.
people who don't need the setting reinforced on them.
Thank you.
They got those the people I want to RP with.
I accept that correction. That's
Yes.
yeah.
Another side note is in the old system, as was mentioned, your nonpareils, which were not just chocolate treats with little white dots on them, were your cold iron treasures. And which house was it? Dougal? Or which was the house that had to literally kill themselves to make them? If they're going to be cold iron treasures, they're like called...
I don't have any idea what
Are
you're
you
talking about.
In the old system, there was a house, one of the she houses made them, and they had to beat their own face elves into the weapon and like die making them.
I mean,
I'll
something?
accept
I
that
do
might
not
be a
recall.
thing, but I don't
Some
really
of you change
it's not the Dougal because they're way too silly.
or
for
not
that.
the Dougal. Well, it's one of them.
They're
Anyway,
I know the Baylor could, the the extraordinary men who do extraordinary things could.
I don't know.
Could
One of you
use that.
changeling fanboys
All right.
can look deep
We're
into
done.
the source
I
material
think
and look at.
we're going to wrap this.
Well, I
Last,
did want to look a few more Q&A because we really did skip comments.
well, we're well past 2 hours at this
Oh.
point. We have a lot of material to cover. We will be back with you hopefully next week. And the,
We will look at your comments.
the last thought I want to offer up is just keep this in mind, folks. This is a completely fresh game. This is something we rarely get a shot at. So let's get that feedback in, and all of us together help make this the best game possible.
Yep.
Also, before we sign off, remember the Talking About Werewolves Facebook group exists. If you have questions, please put them there. We will ruminate on them as we go forward.
Follow us on the one
I mean,
thing
like-
on social media.
I mean, like if you hit us up there, we might just take your question and turn it into a whole show. Like we will steal your ideas.
It was supposed
No
to be
lie.
our way to increase engagement.
Which actually are a way to like make you do our work.
If your question wasn't addressed here, type it up there. And our goal, just to add, is ultimately we all want a great. I'm not going to use the term. We all want to have a great Changeling game. We want to take all of the work that's been put into this game. We want it to be the best possible thing it can be.
Absolutely.
To enjoy it and to play it and for it to be great. This is all coming from a place of love.
And now
Yes.
that Bucky has stolen my last words, we will now
I mean-
wrap. So everybody have a great night, and thank you for watching.
Cheers.